I need to look back at that to see exactly why that went wrong.
It's not your standard tournament game.
It felt like Zound, I don't know, it felt like the harassment ended up doing actually quite a lot to him because it seemed like it just messed up his order. Like,
well, he
just
was moving probes a lot.
Yeah, that is the thing. So, yeah, maybe that extra mining time loss ended up being much more impactful than we initially thought.
Yeah, when I look at harass, I'm always counting how many workers are killed. But I don't know. I feel like I have more questions than answers about that game. That seemed like you're not supposed to just die to a straight-up push. Like, Protoss clearly did something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, anyways, Kier up with a 1-0 lead here as we go into map number 2 here.
Yes, X-Arc, our first view of this map.
Yes.
And something interesting, since it is a 4-player map, there's some interesting things that the map maker has done to make it a little easier to scout and whatnot. And one of those is that there are worker-only paths around the entire edges of the map.
Right.
And so that makes it so that way you can actually just get to the other side of each base much quicker instead of having to traverse the entire length of the map, which is generally the main criticism of 4-player maps, is that it's so hard to scout that you could just get RNG'd on the spawn positionings and then, like a 12 pool comes and kills you, or an unscouted 2-racks just destroys you, or something like that. So this is a way to potentially mitigate that, and you can see that Zound doesn't know that exists and is scouting the normal way a little bit too. But he does. There's still a couple other mineral only or worker only paths in those spots too, so it's still makes it a little quick as well there.
We do have map votes for certain Patreon tiers and above that, but I welcome this map. I know that, there's always kind of a collective groan among some pros when we get maps that are this experimental, but I think you need to have crazy ideas on maps because it really helps us understand the matchups in different ways and how the game works. And sometimes, cool ideas on maps like this can then become very trendy and more mainstream on the more standard maps.
And you can see even now that probe is starting to go through that worker only path on the right hand side there, so it'll get there just a little bit quicker to the top right hand side.
Yeah. Now this probe is actually, it's got little roller blades on. It's actually grinding up this thing, if you can believe that.
He's got the sickest Tony Hawk Pro Skater combo going on right now, man.
Yeah.
He's got to get the SKATE.
Yeah, there's another probe below him with a camera that's also on roller blades filming this.
A fisheye lens.
That's right, it's a fisheye lens. He's got...
This bro's doing...
So they get a really good shot of the Jinkos, Jinko jeans that the probe is wearing. Now he's going to grind back out.
Oh, you can't
where'd he go?
see.
I didn't know you couldn't see there.
Oh, wow, that is interesting. You can just kind of hide the probes there? I guess, does it continually just go? You can stop them in the middle as well. Oh, that's very interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, I thought for some reason that you could see onto there.
Yeah, or just that, it was like a one-way thing. It was like one of those, escalators in the, what the hell? The ones in the subway that you can just walk on and it just takes you across the long hallway or whatever.
Oh, yeah. What is that called?
Yeah, it's not an escalator, is it?
One time I was at the airport with Artosis, and we were walking on one of those to go to our thing. And he said, if you actually just ran a motorcycle down one of these, you would travel back in time. Nothing would go faster. Nothing would be faster if you went full speed on a motorcycle down it. I was dying.
That's so funny. Oh, my God. That's awesome. Anyway, there's actually a couple of units just run across the map from Zound, and he's just gone past the bunker, which is in, of course, a kind of a strange-looking location if you're not used to how this natural works out. But that is actually the front of the natural where that bunker is. So
one thing about this map is that the minerals actually point out.
Yeah.
So that's going to play a big role in this matchup. If you're being pushed by Terran, usually when you get pushed, what happens is the hatchery or the nexus or the command center gets killed, right? And then the workers can get killed later on. Here, the workers will be hit first. So if you get any position at all, you're going to kill workers immediately.
Yeah, true. That makes blink pressure, I feel like, kind of okay as well. Even though there's, I guess, not many places you can, rotate around to, get into the main base or whatever, you can still force them to have to respond because, like you said, you're just going to be right there on the mineral line. You don't have to go very far to actually start threatening that. So that could potentially be pretty decent. You can see Zound is going for that with a couple extra gateways as well and the quick robo. So he might be trying to go for something like that. I like that. That's kind of cute. He's just hold positioning, just waiting to see if a probe will come there and we'll just be able to kill it immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I'm already really enjoying this map. I guess we got to see what, longer games actually end up looking like here. I'd also be open to the idea of this map, but not with the minerals pointed out, in case that becomes a big issue. Sometimes, and this is not a critique of the map or anything, but just sometimes when you get experimental maps, there's a lot of experimental stuff happening.
Right.
But yeah, anyways, it's cool that we've got this map. in our selection. We have a Warp Prison being made, and Blink's about to finish. And I think it's 3 gates. Is that correct?
I think it was 3, yes.
Yeah.
And the way that he's mining out these minerals makes it look he's trying to just take a 3rd base. So, yeah, just going to be a 3-gate Blink pressure, which is pretty standard just to go for that. It's still pretty good where you can get a decent amount of aggression on the map and some map control while still letting yourself expand like normal and not get so far behind in that regard. Whereas a 4-gate Blink is much more committed, and it's a little harder to transition if it doesn't work as well. It's going to be a very fast Colossus transition coming after as well from Zaun, which is kind of interesting. I feel like you would normally go into Storm with this style, or just more committed with the Blink Stalkers and not going for such a fast Robo Bay, but it looks like he might just be harassing with just a group of Stalkers. It's literally just going to be 4 to 1 shot.
Okay, he is going to be just losing shields in that first tank shot. Is he going to actually get this? No.
The repair is
that's
good.
too bad.
Yeah, that was an interesting play to try and just target down the tech lab that wasn't researching anything at first when he clicked on it, which is kind of strange.
He's like repairing it, and he's like, I should probably start something out of here too.
Yeah, so nothing found just yet from Zaun, but we'll try to go find if he can get a couple SCVs or whatnot. The tank positioning is still pretty good, of course, so it's going to be still hard to just walk right on up, but if he gets full vision of when Kier does move out, then he can start to blink on in, try to target down a couple SCVs, as like I said, 4 Stalkers is what you need to one-shot them.
Okay, they're going to blink in here. And just a little bit harassed. Look, not bad. He's going to get 3, actually up to 5 SCV kills. That's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good start.
Yeah. I think a lot of times when we think of Stalker harass, we don't think of, like, you know, a huge number of kills like that, but 5 is massive. Let's not forget how that last game went when the push came out. Good body blocking.
Yeah, I mean, look at Kier's army, man. It's 61 army supply already. It's 6.5 minutes into the game. Like, this is a very large army coming across. And this position, like, you're on this low ground here. The tanks are going to be very strong in this location. Zaun did not clear these rocks out, so it's going to be a little harder to get a nice concave on top of this ramp. And Kier is just allowed into this position. And like you were mentioning at the beginning of this map, this is immediately into the mineral line. All of these probes are dying, and almost nothing has happened yet. Yeah,
the Colossus is taking cover behind the Nexus, and the Stalkers are intercepting the reinforcements, which is pretty big. He's going to kill basically every single Widow Mine here. But what's going on in the push? I mean, is the Nexus still here?
It's at half HP, so he's got to pull the trigger at this point. Blinks on in with the Stalkers to try and focus down these tanks. The rest of the bio is still standing strong as the Colossus doesn't really have range yet, so it's not able to participate in the fight for the first half, but now it's doing a lot of great damage onto this bio, able to stutter step some of these back. There's no battery to go back to, but there's enough units from Zaun, and he will hold on to his natural.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to go ahead and retreat. I mean, the Nexus is still there, so the expansion wasn't taken out. There, I think, was a decent number of probes that were killed during that, so they're fairly even in workers right now. So he's going to have to repopulate that expansion. But I think Kier could possibly come out again with another attack here. He's getting Vikings as well. You know, the Vikings are really what allow you to actually eventually topple the Colossus here and win the fights. Although he's getting he's getting into it at a time. I'm sorry. He was making 1 for a second. But I guess, yeah, you can see they're staggered in their production.
Yeah, so he's definitely ramping up for another attack. He's getting 2 extra barracks as well before a 3rd CC, so he's going full on with a 5 racks 2 base attack. So he's going to be trying to end this before Zaun can recoup from that last engagement.
Yeah.
Of course, you lost a lot of probes, and look at this. Zaun doesn't realize that this is actually more committed. He's going double forge right now on the production tab. This is not the correct read from Zaun. He needs to realize how aggressive Kier is actually trying to be on this counterattack.
Right. The Observer just gets sniped. Yeah, 2 forges is a nod to, like, a very long game, right? But I think when you see somebody who's going to do a push like this, not that you shouldn't have any forges, but you basically just have to stop whatever they're going to do, and then, you know, you're going to be in such a great position, the rest of the game should be easy. So kind of a classic PvT scenario here where the Terran is going to try to come out here and smash the Protoss before they can get too big.
Yeah, a couple of Zealots also just kind of getting caught in the middle there, hoping to do a little bit of harassment when the army moves out. But again, Kier is not quite moved out just yet, and there's really not that much to harass because he's just sitting on 2 bases anyways. So it's not really going to do that much. And so that's just a couple more units that are getting bled out from Zaun when he needs absolutely everything. And one of the forges that he's even investing in just gets sniped by a medevac, and so much of his army is left up there. The rest of the stuff at the front is getting focused down by the Vikings and the bio.
Oh my god, there's nothing here to stop the Vikings. Vikings. The Vikings are just going to continue to do damage to the Colossus. Counterattack does nothing. And I think this game's going to be over. I do not think that Kier can be stopped here. I mean, just straight up powerful pushes here. Xiao trying to go for a long game. Smiling now. I think he realizes this game's basically over. Kier, again, like I was saying before we started, this guy is a TVP machine.
Yeah, man.
He really gets the matchup, I think, in a way that other people just don't. So a straightforward 2-0.
Yeah, very nicely played. And I like that both players kind of also took elements of that map to try to toy around with, whereas, Zhao was going for like the early blink to kind of blink around, try to get some damage here and there and all those little edges and whatnot, and then using, some of the worker path in the very beginning. And then Kier realizing that you can just walk up to that low ground position with siege tanks, and just it's so hard to actually get around and flank that position if they're not prepared, if they don't take the rocks down early, or if they're not meeting you on the map and whatnot. So both players kind of toying around with that new map there, and ended up being pretty neat first showing.
Yeah, nicely done there by Kier. Kier looking pretty beastly. I don't have a whole lot else to say about that. I mean, it was just Terran wins with a push.
Yeah, man. Kier just kind of bodied him.
Apparently, you don't need. I mean, what's crazy is he won with that. Imagine he had pulled SCVs.
Yeah.
How hard would he win with that? So that's wild. Here's our map pool, by the way. I'm glad we've got these new maps. I think our community has done a great job with their votes, keeping the maps competitive but also interesting. And yeah, good job, everybody.
Yeah, man, you guys are good. Keep voting cool maps. Each season, we do get some new ones in and vote some of them out as well. So if you guys watching right now, you're like, God, I hate 10,000 feet. It's the worst map of all time.
That's right. Well,
join our Patreon and vote it out.
This is a democracy, kind of, sort of. Only if you're on the Patreon.
Only if you are capitalistically inclined.
That's right. Yeah. Anyways, guys, we're going to take a short little break. When we come back, we're going to continue on here with Group D of the RSL.
Hey guys, Tasteless here. I wanted to show you our Terran set for the StarCraft Tabletop Miniatures game. You can see we've got all the pieces assembled here. It comes with 12 Marines, 3 Medics, 2 Marauders, 1 Sentry Drone, and then the final piece is Jim Raynor here. Each Marine in the set has a unique loadout. Over here, you have the Raynor's Raiders version of the Marines, each one with a rifle and a bayonet attached. But honestly, these look incredible. The amount of detail is insane. Like we've said before, these look exactly like what you see in the cinematics for StarCraft 2. Now, it's important to remember, as amazing as this looks, this is more than just a bunch of cool figurines. This is actually a game. Each figurine comes with a corresponding card. So this is Jim Raynor, and you can see on the card his different attributes listed, what he's able to do, and this is what you'd be using when you're actually playing against your friends. So just like in the game, you're able to get different upgrades for each of the units. So for the Marine, if you flip the card around, you can see you can go for combat shields, grenades, or other various upgrades, which are going to change the whole experience of what you're having when you're playing the game. When a game starts, you get minerals and Vespian gas. The units cost minerals, the tactical cards cost Vespian gas. Take a tactical card, flip it over, you'll see exactly what abilities that tactical card gives you. In order to get started, go to the StarCraft Tabletop Miniatures game website. There you can find the game rules, but also the army builder. From there, you pick a faction, how many minerals and Vespian gas you get. You spend those minerals and Vespian gas to unlock units and tactical cards. And from there, you're ready to go. For more information, sign up for the newsletter on Archon Studios' StarCraft Tabletop Miniatures game website. Check it out.
Zealots, Chris Henry's buying time.
Welcome on back, everybody. We're going into the second map, the second series of the day. Sturgeon has joined me once again. Welcome, buddy. How are we feeling about this upcoming match of Lambo versus Clem?
We are feeling good, man. It's been a while since I've seen these two play. Clem, obviously one of the best in the business. Lambo, he's really, really good, man. I kind of hope he can pull out a good performance here in his first RSL. Looking forward to what he's got in store for us.
Yeah, man. I mean, you were saying kind of before that you feel like he's someone that generally is maybe his results don't always cater towards how good he actually really is, since sometimes kind of underperforming in certain tournaments. But like on stream, you're saying like he's just so good.
Oh yeah, I really rate Lambo as a player. I mean, if you watch him play ladder, he beats top players all the time, and his results in tournaments haven't been quite what you would expect for someone who is as good as he is in my eyes. I don't know if why that is, why he doesn't necessarily perform as well as he should do, but I'm hoping this is the tournament where we can kind of see him play to his full potential, get some good results, and we'll see.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be easy because he is he's playing Clem.
I mean, this is basically the RSL tradition at this point. Any new player that joins on in for their first time, they just get put into the worst matchups possible. We had GG Machine going against Rogue Classic and Maru. We had Shameless just yesterday going against a whole slew of insane players. And now Lambo, his opening match of the RSL, take Clem. How about that?
Well, that's the thing. There are no easy groups.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, where do you want to go in Group A?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
Want to play Maru instead? Like, you know what I mean? It's tough opponents in every group this season. Obviously, Clem is a very difficult first match, but, he does have other chances if he goes on to play against Zaun, for example. So we'll see how he can do. Kier is now sitting at 1-0 in the group. Zaun is down in that losers match, waiting for the loser of Lambo Clem. The winner will, of course, go on to play Kier for the first chance to get out of the group.
Yeah, man, it's going to be great, hopefully. Of course, Lambo, someone that's, if he does win today, that would actually make it 4 Zergs qualifying into the playoffs, which would be crazy.
Insane. We have more Zergs than Protoss qualified right now.
How the tables turn, man. Would you look at that?
It only took 5 seasons, but we did it.
Yeah, man. People thought that this was just RSL. We were just revitalizing everyone, all the Protoss's bank accounts. But no, this is actually where we're here finally, showing you that Zergs can actually do it.
Yeah, just ignore this graphic.
Yeah,
and
Ziggy,
that
what
makes
the hell
a
are you
lot
doing?
of
Get
sense.
this out of here. Stop ruining my narrative, Ziggy. Get out of here.
The timing on that, Ziggy doing a little trolling back on the production desk. But pros have done very well in the RSL, but there's a lot of good Zerg players who have gone through already. Rogue especially, I've got my eye on. I think he's one of the best players at the moment. Just playing his own game, playing his own style. I'm really looking forward to his playoff chances. And yeah, we'll see how if Lambo's able to join him today. Yeah,
it would be really cool, of course. Any player that has only just recently joined the RSL, any new people, it's always great to see how far they can go. And we are just kind of waiting for both these players to get on ready as well. So we're not just kind of sitting here for no reason. We're just waiting for the players to join the game and everything. But I'm very excited. I mean, Lambo versus Clem, these two players, of course, know each other so well.
Yes.
They're just kind of like hallmarks of the non-Korean scene at this point. So very curious to see how well these two are going to play today.
Yeah, we also are still waiting for our first Royal Roader, right?
It's true, yeah.
Imagine if it's Lambo. What a
bit
of RSL history
story.
that would be.
That would be a crazy story. I mean, it would be cool if Clem could also continue to do well, because last season, I mean, he totally bombed out. Like, just played some of the worst in RSL we've seen. So to have him come back this season and go far would also be a great story.
Yeah, indeed. He has been playing a lot of Protoss recently. I think he's done exceptionally well considering it's his second race. Right. Overall, don't get me wrong, he's insanely talented to be able to play 2 races at that level. But overall, has it been good for his game or not? It's still, the short term at the moment. Maybe he's thinking more long term, having 2 races available to him is going to be good for him.
Right.
Maybe he just thinks Protoss are strong. I don't know, but I would say as of now, up until now, it hasn't necessarily benefited him. Would you agree with that?
I mean, there's been quite a few moments where he does just kind of bop a few Terrans. He just switches it over to Protoss in the PvT. I mean, I think this group particularly, it could favor him just because if he does win this match, I would not be surprised if he picks Protoss against Kier. And he has beaten Kier in PvT many times in the last year or so, or since whenever it was that he started to switch. So I think that could actually be quite impactful in this group particularly. So I'm curious to see if that ends up happening. Of course, that's if Clem does actually face against Kier. Let's not count Lambo out yet 1 minute into the first game. Let's see if he can actually pull this one off, because obviously Lambo, like we were saying, someone who's very good, very knowledgeable about the game. I mean, this guy brought out things like, the German taxi in PBZ as well. Very strategically a sound player, inventing new styles and always bringing up really cool stuff. Yeah, I'm curious to see how Clem's Protoss continues to evolve in the future and
how he decides to choose his matchups, whether it will just be every Terran uses Protoss, Terran, then he plays TVZ, that kind of thing. We'll have to see how it goes. Right now, we do see him going for a Reaper expand into the CC. And on Lambo's side of things, he's just playing standard as well. He's got his hatch, he's got his gas, and he's got his pool on the way.
Do you think Lambo's going to actually do something kind of crazy? I feel like I remember when the patch kind of hit, when the mutas got buffed. I think you were saying that he was experimenting with mutas kind of frequently in this matchup. Am I wrong in that? Or
No, I think you're spot on there. He shared some builds, like he 2 base muta, 3 base muta. I think he was saying 3 base muta is a bit stronger if you play it perfectly. So I think he can play a lot of different styles. This probe going to go to the 3rd base. The SCV sees it, doesn't want to die to the Reaper, so he's going to make the extractor right away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the RSL. Good to have you with us. We are continuing on in the playoffs of Season 5 today. Classic versus Shin, Rogue versus Bunny. It's going to be 2 exciting best-of-5 series. I'm staying with me is Gemini. How you doing, Gemini?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. I'm ready to do some great RSL playoff action today. Like you said, losers bracket is today, so 2 of these players are going to be going out from the 4 that we have playing today. So our first eliminations of the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's a surprising lineup that we have right now in the eliminations. I mean, classic Shin, Rogue, and Bunny, these are not players that you really think of as being the first players to be knocked out in a double elimination bracket like this one. Shin and Rogue, in my opinion, they're the 2 best Zergs in Korea right now. Classic, former RSL champion, last year also won a GSL. He's fighting for his life. All these players have to go all the way through the lower bracket if they want to make it to the final series of the season, as it's a fight for survival.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what we actually have coming out today. Of course, like you said, these players are someone that we don't really think should be in this part of the bracket at this point, especially Shin just coming off of a GSL Finals as well. It is quite surprising to see him knocked down already here by Hero. But, I mean, Hero obviously someone that's very good, so not super crazy that he's moved on. But some other great results as well. I mean, Lambo getting through over Bunny, going further into the playoffs is really cool. So his first run in the RSL doing really well so far, and is going to have a rematch against Clem as well tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch tomorrow as we take a look here at the schedule for the RSL. Today is the 23rd. We only have 4 days left if you include today here in the RSL, as we're going to fight our way through the playoffs today and tomorrow, and then next weekend an early start because there will be a lot of StarCraft to be played in those final 2 days.
Yeah, there's also some GSL happening there as well. It's Mr. State's going to be over there with Tasteless talking about GSL stuff.
Yeah,
as well.
I actually there's been so much casting that I was almost late to the RSL studio today because I took the train all the way to the GSL studio because I just knew I was going to be casting StarCraft. And if you're not aware, that is the exact opposite of the city. I had to go all the way across town from the GSL studio to make it to the RSL studio. I felt so stupid, but
dude, you like just dropped that in the group chat, and I was just like, "What?"
I was worried. I realized, and I was like, "Oh man, am I going to be late?"
Oh my god.
Anyway, we want to give a big shout out to our official partner here, all the way from the beginning in RSL to today, Archon Studio. They're making the premier StarCraft tabletop miniatures game. They have been showing us so much of what they've been creating. They keep sending shipments our way, and everything just looks absolutely incredible. I know that the RSL team, including Tasteless, have also made quite a few videos kind of just promoting the miniatures game, showing how it works. And those are really interesting to me as somebody who's never really played a tabletop miniatures game in my life. I originally looked at this as like, well, I don't know if I'm going to play, but maybe collecting some of these items might be really cool. How much StarCraft memorabilia does anybody have? It's hard to find good quality stuff, but no, it looks awesome.
Indeed it does. And it's also really awesome if you guys would check us out on Patreon. That is how we are funding these events. You guys have been awesome so far. Tons of different perks that you guys can get as well if you do sign up. You can vote on maps, you can vote on players, you can join our Discord, you can get all the replays, and more importantly, you can ask us questions. And we love to answer questions, and it's a great thing that we all do all the time. So yeah, go ahead, join our Patreon so you can do that very cool perk of asking us questions, Dave.
Excellent, Gemini. Let's go on to the next slide. There's no more
slides.
slides.
Okay, wonderful.
All right.
I thought thought there was going to be more. Ziggy jump scared us with our own faces. Okay,
well, we're
no
going to be jumping into Classic versus Shin in just a minute here as our players are getting ready to kick off the first best of 5. And I think actually map number 1 as we play on Exarch, one of the new maps that we have here in the RSL, and kind of one of the more unique maps that we've had just in general in competitive StarCraft 2 recently. I'm excited to jump into this.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. Exarch, of course, like you said, just something just very unique. So it's going to be really cool to see how this works out. But this match in particular, I find is going to be quite interesting just coming into, just because of the way that both of these players ended up in this lower bracket with the way that they played in the uppers. Like Shin kind of played against Hero and just kind of got bodied by a couple early timings, and then one game went like a little bit more macro, but still was very one-sided by Hero. And then Classic also just kind of lost to a lot of early lair attacks from Solar as well. Just very quick games overall from both of these players, but from opposite sides of the matchup. So I'm curious just how that ends up playing a factor into this one particularly, just because they both seem to have lost against the other race. So how are they going to actually do against this in this one?
Yeah, you know, I think I would personally just give the edge to Shin coming into this series. Shin, he just had a top 2 GSL finish. He's been looking so good. He even defeated Maru for the first time ever in that GSL offline finals, which was
esports history.
It truly was esports history. I mean, dropping 33 series, then finally winning the 34th.
No one beat Shin 34 times in a row.
At some point, it's got to be a psychological thing. So I'm sure that Shin is feeling really good. He's looking to be in maybe the best form of his life as we're getting ready to start set number 1 here on Exarch. Classic versus Shin, and a best of 5. The winner surviving in the RSL. The loser dropping out of Season 5.
All right, and they actually do have close spawns as well. That's very interesting. I'm curious if either player will end up scouting that quickly with the little worker path that does go around the edges of the map. I feel like you could do some really tricky stuff in that way as well. Maybe if, you know, some player like maybe SOS was playing as well, could potentially hide a pylon back there or something in the other player's base, because you don't actually see that spot very early and you maybe just kind of forget about it. So could be interesting if that ends up happening, but it looks like their Classic is not actually going to be doing that. But we'll just, of course, scout this way anyways first, so we'll get that information nice and quickly. Whereas Shin won't know exactly which way this probe came from, so his Overlord is not quite going in the correct direction as of yet.
Yeah, should even opt to go for a pool first, so a very fortuitous scout here for Classic, getting to spot that. And actually, it's going to be a gas follow-up, so pool and extractor before going for hatchery. Might be some early shenanigans coming in by Shin. Of course, Classic has not yet scouted this. Instead, the probe is waiting at the natural expansion to try and block the hatchery from being thrown down. And whenever you play against a pool first opening, this kind of has to be on your radar, that there might be some aggression coming your way. So Classic going to pop back here into the main base, and he will be scouting that timing.
Yeah, it's going to be a pylon block there for now, and then, of course, the drone will just be able to move away somewhere else to be able to plant that hatchery, or it's going to come back to try and mind game the cancel, but unfortunately doesn't actually get it down in time. The probe returns, so Shin trying to be a little bit cheeky, a little bit greedy with how that how that drone was moving, and will still have his base denied for quite a long time.
Yeah, Shin, I think he started the Queen even before. A Queen and an Overlord before he wanted to throw down that hatchery. This hatchery's been significantly delayed. Oh, Classic wanted to go in for one more block, but hatch does get thrown down. And now Zergling speed is starting up here for Shin.
I do like this wall off that Classic's done as well. He's actually fully walled off, it looks like, and will eventually just mine out these minerals to then get out of his base that way. So that means these early Zerglings won't be able to do anything, as the Adept will just get chronoed on out, and now there's no chance that anything bad could happen to Classic in this early game. So nice reactions overall, delaying that hatchery for a very long time, and then also setting himself up defensively very nicely with his expansion still coming up at a very nice time. So this is looking excellent for Classic, navigating this early game very well.
And even the pylon placement here, the ramp between these two players' bases. Classic throwing down both pylons and the Stargate here just out of vision of that Overlord. He's blocking exactly where Shin might want to come in. And also for Classic, if he wants to take the forward third base from this position, it could be a pretty good one. You know, you have that nice mineral wall behind your base. You have the full wall off with the gateway of the core, the destructible debris at the front of the expansion. Classic might be angling towards eventually expanding towards Shin, as Shin is himself setting up a third hatchery now.
Yeah, we're just going to see exactly when the Stargate finishes what the tech of choice is going to be. Is he going to go for Oracle or Void Ray? I would be surprised if it was going to be Void Ray, to be honest. I feel like you want to get that Oracle to get scouting, because of course you've walled yourself in. You haven't been able to get any confirmation on what is actually coming up as the follow-up from Shin, so we'll be going for the fast Oracle, of course. Even getting some extra shield batteries just in case. I'm actually kind of surprised with how defensive Classic is being with this early game, because he's already got one. He's getting a second one, just sniffing something out right now, potentially that could be aggressive, but nothing's coming his way right now. He just wants to make sure he doesn't get killed off, because of course he hasn't had that follow-up scout just yet with that you normally would get with the early Adept.
Right, it was a very suspicious opening from Shin, going for a pool before hatchery, even throwing down the gas, and so Classic is right to be kind of alarmed and cautious about what Shin might be throwing his way, but Shin is playing a pretty standard opening so far. Classic not able to catch any drones so far with this first Oracle, going down to about 60 HP, and now will be heading back home to retreat. Might pair up with the second Oracle that's about to finish up. And Classic actually, he's going to be expanding into the back expansion, so not expanding towards the opponent Shin, instead setting up for a third Nexus over here by the 4 o'clock position. And Shin has enough lings, I think he might be able to delay this, but not if both Oracles come back.
Yeah, nice for Classic just to make sure he can confirm that he gets this third base, so the Oracles weren't able to do all that much on the other side of the map, but that doesn't matter because you can just go ahead and secure your third base nice and easily and just continue this pattern of just making sure your economy is set up nicely and making sure that Shin cannot get anything done with all the stuff that he's doing, all these little tricks and whatnot. So lots of early lings that are being made here for Shin. Haven't found any use just yet, but we do have a very fast Baneling Nest coming in, so he might try to pull some kind of interesting trick up his sleeve as well, going for a fast Baneling attack. And actually, oh, that's not a full wall there. Those little mineral thingies with the worker path don't actually fully wall that off. So the Lings will get inside, start killing off a few of these probes before getting killed off by the Adepts and Oracles.
Yeah, we've seen this happen with Hero as well. It's very hard to actually place the Adept at the exact right position with the mineral gap. I think the hitbox are just not something the players are used to.
Yeah.
I would like to see a couple more structures thrown down whenever the third base gets taken like this and you keep some minerals up, because I think relying on just having one Adept or one Zealot in that little tiny gap, it makes things quite difficult to actually figure out. Or as Mapu pointed out, perhaps even taking the minerals on the far side away from the mineral path might be easier there. In any case, Classic now pushing forward with a handful of Adepts. Going to see if he can get some damage done. I don't think Shin is going to be relying on Banelings to deal with this. He has more than enough Lings that he should just be able to corral these Adepts as they move on to the third base or the natural expansion, but we'll see what Classic's able to get done.
Yeah, 3 Oracles is quite a lot as well, though, so the Queens need to all be together. Otherwise, the Oracles will be able to just DPS them down very easily, and we're going to just run into the main base, but a nice catch by the Zerglings. We'll be able to deny that and force a recall. A couple of drones do get killed off as the Oracles will get a few as well as they continue to hug this path in a very funny-looking way, but then get a few on the exit as well. Okay, nicely done by Classic, actually, in the end.
It's like going to the circus and playing with the bumper cars, man. Those Oracles. That was some funny movement along the air blocker here on the map, and now Shin going to be going for a surround. I don't think this is going to translate into too many kills. Maybe 1 or 2 Adepts will get traded out here, but let's see. Shin continuing to push in. Actually, the Stalker does fall, so not the worst of trades here for Shin, as the game is starting to normalize a little bit. Shin going for a Spire now. A lot more Lings actually in production. And it's notable that Shin, he's going into the Spire and the Hydralisk Den at the same time. It seems like he's kind of hedging his bets in terms of what to do here versus the different potential setups of Classic. But Shin is notably doing this on a relatively low drone count. He's only at 67 drones, which basically perfectly saturates 3 bases. And, you know, in a minute and a half, once the main base starts to mine out, he will be transferring some drones down to this 4th expansion. But it seems like Shin is really focused on the short term right now.
All right, here we come with the move out for Classic with his blink finished and some Oracles still alive. We'll be able to do some pressure onto this forward 4th base. The Lings on the counterattack from Shin, unable to do too much just yet as they're blocked in the natural. They will get into the main base, it does look like on the minimap, so those units once again out of position, so will get on top of this probe line, and potentially also the Templar Archives could deny Storm, would be massive. The Stalkers getting surrounded at the front as well. Classic looking in 2 different directions at the same exact time. Will be able to deal with the Lings, but a lot of infrastructure getting killed off and the push delayed from Classic.
Yeah, losing Cybernetics Core, losing all of these Stalkers, plus 6 probes on top of it. This Ling Flood style from Shin on just 67 drones is really starting to pay off. As Shin coming back into the natural expansion, there are a lot of Zealots warping in with +1 ground weapon, so they can 2-shot those Zerglings. That's going to have Shin pivot down to the 3rd base, seeing if he can find some damage, but Classic has finally buttoned up the defense with a photon cannon with a shield battery. And the game might quiet down a little bit from here, but I think that was a really nice move by Shin.
Yeah, that definitely swung the tempo more in his favor a little bit. He's actually in control of the game more so than he was earlier, since his earlier attacks weren't able to do all that much. And now the mutas get to come in as well. In Classic, you can see his reaction on that webcam, completely unaware that this could possibly be a transition. He's got nothing to be able to defend, and that's going to just be GG. He leaves the game. Shin with a great recovery after an early game that was not going his favor.
Yeah, man, I really thought that game might quiet down a little bit after those lings and the static defense started to get up there for Classic.
Oh, it did quiet down, but not in the way you were probably meaning.
Not in the way that I was expecting. No, the mutas getting on the field were just able to really destabilize Classic to the point where, you know, the position, you just considered it futile. He forfeits game number 1, and I must say, Shin is just looking so good right now in the GSL and the RSL. There's a case being made for him being the best Zerg in Korea at the moment.
I mean, yeah, he's been having very consistent results for a good amount now. If he can continue to go far into this tournament as well and then replicate that form in this current season of GSL, I could definitely see that being one of the talking points of the current patch and the current state of StarCraft. So far, looking very nice versus Classic. Classic, despite having kind of a nice response to the early game and looking like he was kind of setting himself up very well, I think didn't really trust his gut too much. It felt like he defended the initial harass and whatnot, the early lings, I should say. But then he was like really doubling down. He was like really unsure if Shin was going to do some sort of follow-up all-in. He was getting those 2 shield batteries. The third base was still not, it wasn't like super fast or anything like that. And I don't know, it just felt like he was, it didn't seem like he had all his eggs in one basket almost, it felt like. It felt like he was trying to do a couple of different things at the same time throughout that game.
Yeah, like he wasn't quite on the same page as what Shin was doing.
Yeah.
There were a lot of questions there for Classic in the early game, and also being on a map like Exarch, where there are a lot of different expansion patterns you can take, especially with Shin going for a build like that one with pull into gas into the hatchery, even after Classic delayed the natural hatchery for so long. Yeah, things were a little bit confusing there for Classic, so kind of a tumultuous early game. Not translating into a stable mid game there for Classic, but let's see if we can get off to a better start here as map number 2 is loaded in.
Who's going to be the one to try and say the name first?
Rorschach?
Rorschach, right?
Yeah, Rorschach.
Okay,
Yeah.
Rorschach. Dude, I don't know why this name just messes with my brain so much. It's so hard to say that. It doesn't look like it should be said in the way that it actually is said.
Well, it's named after a psychologist, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's like the psychology. He made the ink block test.
Right,
yeah, but
right.
like, I don't know. The name itself is like, for some reason, it just messes with my brain entirely. But
yeah, names can be tricky.
yeah, I agree. Anyways, let's go into this game, of course, as it's going to just be hopefully a pretty standard one overall from Classic's POV. He's someone that does like to go for just the overall standard stuff in this matchup. You saw he was trying to go for the Blink Stalker Oracle play in the mid game, of course, something that's very normal and something that he's been doing to great success overall in the last year or so. But I feel like in the last couple of months, ever since that one patch that, of course, came out after the the Storm rework and everything, it feels like Classic has been on a little bit of a downward trend overall compared to some of the other players. So it would be great if he could rebound here to try and get some of that momentum going again.
Yeah, I agree with that analysis. But also, let's remember that Classic, last season in the GSL, I believe it was a top 8 finish for him. Here in the RSL, he's also, I think, already top 8 in this RSL. In the GSL Season 2, he is in top 8. So by the standards that he has created for himself by being arguably the best Protoss in the world last year, this is a bit of a turn down, but he is still one of the best players by a long shot. It's just, I think the current meta doesn't quite favor Classic style. Classic's always been capable of kind of doing anything, whether it be a timing attack or an all-in or just playing a long macro game, but I think specifically in 2025 and forward, the most defining aspect of Classic's play has been defense, macro, late game, above everything else. And we're currently in a period of StarCraft 2 where it seems like specifically in ZVP, so much of the game comes down to how well Zerg is able to deal with the early harassment of Protoss, with Adepts, with Oracles, with early timing attacks, say Blink Stalker's trying to deny a 4th base, Glaive's trying to get a bunch of drone kills, something like that. And also, Zerg trying to win in the mid-game. So it's very early focused, and I feel like Classic, in a lot of his games historically, he edges out players in the late stages, but many of the games played today are defined before we actually reach that period in any individual map. And so for a player like Shin, who in my mind's eye is much more early game focused, much more mid-game focused, that's when he is playing at peak performance, I feel like a series like this one is better for him, you know? And it just seems like in the current meta, a player with the late game focus of a player like Classic is going to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, we got the first Adept coming on in as well, trying to get the Scout, of course, with the Oracle coming out behind it. And we've got the Stalker as well to try and deny any Overlords that are trying to get some deep scouts and whatnot. A couple of Lings actually did wrap around the Adept, and we'll be able to get inside, so we'll see exactly what's going on. We'll try to even get a probe, but Nice Micro should be able to keep these probes alive from Classic, so nicely done there. And then we'll just split those two across to try and see if we can get that information as Shin, as he will also get a probe for that single Zergling. So nice interaction there for Shin.
Yeah, a little bit too conservative in the micro there, as Classic will translate into one probe falling, but not the end of the world here. For our Korean Protoss players, the first Oracle is coming into the natural expansion. No Spore Crawler done just yet, and only one Queen covering this, so we might have 3 or 4 drones getting picked off. 3 in total before the Queens from the main base are able to accompany those drones back to the mineral line. So nice little pick off there for Classic, and some good control over here, preventing the surround of the Lings there on the Adept is going to keep both of those units alive.
Yeah, I really like that Classic dove that mineral line, seeing only the one Queen, saw that the Spore Crawler was not quite done yet, took the risk, assuming there would not be another Queen just randomly behind that mineral line, so went for the drone kills, was able to get a couple of them and then get on out. A very nice play to abuse the fact that that Spore Crawler was just a little bit mistimed, or that the Queen positioning was a little bit off, so not in response to be able to kill off that Oracle. Looks like the Overlord also did get killed off on the other side, so no more follow-up scouts, but Shin did kind of get the information that he needed so far from the early game. The next big question, of course, is what the follow-up from Classic will be from the Twilight Council, which is what is normally coming up from the Protoss. Is it going to be Blink? Is it going to be a kind of a wacky charge first, which we don't see as much anymore? Is it going to be a glaive attack? Wow, okay, never mind. He's going for the charge. He will go straight into charge. I believe he's not seen a Roach Warren, so that will be a big tell for Classic to try and go into charge Archon or charge Storm very quickly.
Yeah, because the Forge timing is a little bit faster than it normally is, I was thinking this might just be charging +1, because, you know, if Classic decides to play a very defensive game where he's getting Archons early on, he has just a couple of Templar for Storms and is pretty slow taking the 4th base, then being able to warp in, you know, a handful of Zealots at one of these ulterior bases and then just kind of rolling them across the map, trying to find damage at either the 3rd or the potential 4th base of Shin, it's a pretty good approach in the PvZ mid-game, especially with a fast +1.
Yeah, the Oracle's still doing a little bit here and there, but nice response from Shin. Doesn't lose, I think, more than 1 drone or so. Does react to the Stasis Ward as well. Does get the Scout as well, that there is the Baneling Nest coming in, so he will confirm that it is going to be a Ling Bane focus with a very forward, out of nowhere base being taken as the gold for Shin. So he's going to be going for that fast gold base. We'll see if Classic is even thinking about this. We'll see if he even is really aware that that's there. Of course, some of these newer maps, some of the players are not as accustomed to sometimes, so might just slip the mind a little bit. So we'll see if Classic is in the headspace to even scout for that possibility.
Shin has been doing this quite a bit recently on Rorschach, I think. I just saw a series cast by Pig between Shin and Clem, which was absolutely worth watching, where they played here on Rorschach, and Shin kind of did the same thing. He took the gold base there at the 12 o'clock very early on. And so I like him incorporating this. You know, oftentimes when we have new maps like this played in the RSL or in other online tournaments, it's the player who's better able to utilize the unique features of the map to their advantage that is going to be winning the series. And so Shin coming to play here. Let's see if Classic actually is going to be spawning this 12 o'clock expansion. As of yet, he has no idea.
Yeah, he's moving out with his Oracles and some early units. He's got his War Prism loaded up with 2 Archons, but they will meet a bunch of Lings. That will be great for those Archons. They would love to be able to shoot off onto that big ball of Lings right there, and a massive warp-in of charge slots following up as well. Is the Ling Bane and the Hydras coming out from Shin going to be enough to defend against this attack without taking devastating damage?
I don't know. Those Balings, it's only about 6 of them morphing in here on the front lines. 4 more are about to transform, but they're only about halfway done. This gives Classic the time to actually navigate up to the top left side of this map, potentially take down this expansion. I think Shin's going to be really relying on those Balings to hold on to the 3 bases that he's got and the Hydras, and also, you know, crossing his fingers and hoping that Classic doesn't spot the 12 o'clock base, because if Classic goes there right now, that base is just forfeit. There's nothing I think Shin can do to actually defend it.
Oh no, that random Hydra.
Oh boy.
Did he realize why that was there? That got rallied from that base. It doesn't seem like he's putting 2 and 2 together. Very lucky for Shin that that is not being scouted by Classic. He saw the creep. He sees a tiny little bit of this creep, doesn't quite realize it, and that's actually massive again for Shin. The fact that he's able to keep this gold base alive is the only thing that's going to give him leeway in the later stages of this game.
Yeah, and that's such a small sliver of creep, and the tile set of the map in that region is so dark that I don't think Classic is actually going to notice until he actually sends another unit up here. Potentially, say you grab a couple of Zealots, you kind of might shift-click them between all the different bases on their way to Shin's side of the map. That might be the way that Classic is eventually going to be finding this 12 o'clock expansion.
All right, Prism going to be coming into the main base right now. There is a couple of Hydras in preparation, so we'll be able to get that out of there nice and easily. A couple Zealots are all that's in there, and then, of course, could have gone for a big warp in, but not going to be happening for now. Classic will, of course, be thinking he's in a very good spot, given the fact that he thinks he killed that 4th base with no contention from Shin. Of course, needs to realize that there is a base up here and is so close to actually putting these pieces together, and still will not be getting that information.
I think he still just might not know. The Observer, it's in that region, it sees the army movement, but Classic just thinks, I believe, that this is Shin setting up for a big attack.
Oh, this is kind of crazy right now. Classic needs to kind of realize this. I feel like this could get a little out of control. For now, he's not, or Shin is not actually fully committing to the eco or anything like that. He is still going for this big attack, so it's not coming into super big effect at the moment. However, this attack is still very large, and this might be more units than Classic is expecting.
All right, Classic able to pick off just a small piece of this army. This is huge for Classic actually defending this push. As right now, Shin, he's leveraging the gold base economy to try and go for a timing attack. So even if Classic was aware of it, I don't think he could do anything with the presence of the map that Shin has right now to try and counter. Instead, it's all about the defense as Shin is getting in on this 4th base, attacking on both sides. The Storm's coming down, able to catch a lot of those Banelings, also getting some good damage on the Hydras. Simultaneously, Banelings running into the 3rd base, 15 probes and counting are going to fall. I think Classic might have just enough to hold on here, but the economic damage, it's pretty substantial.
Yeah, some more units are still streaming in for Shin, so he's going to still try to keep this location, but tons of Archons are still on the field. Lots more Storms coming on out, so this will be a defense for Classic. More Zealots coming in on the warp in as well. Should be able to defend this for now. 20 probes lost is the counter. There's going to be some more coming in from Shin, so this isn't quite over yet, but so far a good hold from Classic.
Especially considering the Classic was nearing, I think, 80 plus workers. The fact that he lost 20, it's not the end of the world right now. It's still 66 drones to 62 probes. That is absolutely a playable position for Classic. And, you know, the damage distribution on a lot of those Archons, just because by virtue of there being so many of them, was quite even. A lot of those shields are going to be regenerating now. We have a Mothership also joining in. And Classic is getting to the stage of the game where he plays the best. This is Classic basically trying to build a super army. It's going to be him making a lot of Archons. It's going to be him trying to build up a sizable Templar count. And usually the Zealots that are added in here for Classic, once he feels safe, they're going to be utilized for harassment. But the pressure, it's not over yet. Shin, he's doubling down. He's going in for another attack.
Yeah, Cloak is enabled immediately for Classic, but there is an Overseer, so that's going to help a little bit. A couple of Banelings trying to deep dive to get on top of those Templar, trying to force the Storms out early, so then the rest of the Hydras and Banelings can then dish out the damage. A couple of Zealots also going around the base, still have not found that gold base, amazingly. Will eventually find it, but the Time Warp is thrown down as well, and Shin has absolutely nothing in this game anymore. Classic with a great hold.
Yeah, even with the gold base taken there by Shin, you know, Classic didn't find it, he wasn't aware of it, and Shin had a pretty significantly boosted economy because he's only on, 66, 67 drones, but the drones and that 12 o'clock expansion, they're going to be mining at a much higher rate than other drones. Classic was able to hold on, and that was a pretty resounding defense, too, at the 4th base.
Yeah, it was very well done. I mean, the initial attack as well was kind of stunted by Classic getting that nice storm off on the morphing Banelings before anything even got started. I think that really did swing that tempo a little bit more towards his favor. If he wasn't able to get such a nice storm off, perhaps then that extra group of Banelings could have been more influential and actually kind of swung it for Shin. So nice for Classic to be able to be kind of that stone wall that we're more used to seeing out of him this game, whereas last game it just kind of got busted down.
And Classic actually in 2 different moments in that game was able to kind of catch Shin unprepared. First, when he sniped what was the 5th base in the top left side. You know, Shin, he was warping in Banelings, I think 6 or 10 of them in total, but they were just finishing at the moment where Classic was attacking the top left, so Shin couldn't actually deal with it. And then Shin, again, as you said, he was trying to set up for this big attack from 2 different sides coming in at the 4th base of Classic, but Classic, again, with proactive army movement, able to catch the army of Shin, isolate one small section, take the win. Well played by Classic.
Yes, go ahead and check us out on YouTube, by the way. There's this new feature called Hype, and apparently this is on videos only, VODs. You can't do this on live streams, but if you go check this out on the VOD a couple days after it's been released, it's not there forever, but you can hype the video, and that apparently helps us out in the algorithm and stuff like that. So it would really be nice if you could do that. Just give us all the hype possible on our videos. Help us out on YouTube, guys.
Yeah, we're trying to find the best way to actually build up the YouTube, because it's hard to come into the StarCraft 2 space as a new YouTube channel with, you know, the titans of the community that already have their channels up there, and as people continuously come to Revive SC2 and they're like, wait, we didn't even know this tournament was going on. We're seeing it for the first time. So if you could please go to the YouTube page, even if you're watching live on Twitch or on some other streaming platform, click the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. It does help us a lot. Anyway, folks, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, Classic versus Shin will continue.
I think he's happy to just say, okay, you don't have your third. I'm already on 4 bases. I don't need to go for the risky move of diving your natural, maybe taking some huge Widowmine shots. I'm going to just chill. If you try to take your third, maybe that's when I hit you again. If not, I'm content to just wait here and kind of bleed you out, as he is 71 probes already with a 58 of Cure.
Okay, so right now, Kier does not have another base. And I mean, Clem, you know, he's just going to come in again here. I just don't know if this is going to be a game where Kier ever has enough to actually fight this. This is looking so rough. He is finally getting some Vikings, which can help fight the Colossus, but I think there's so many Zealots and Stalkers on the ground here.
Yes.
He's going to get kited all the way back here. Again, these Colossi shots are connecting really nicely.
Oh yeah, huge EMP, but it doesn't matter. Clem just has too much, too nice with it, too clean. He takes game number 1.
I really like that build.
Yeah.
The skipping of the Robo, that's interesting. Super fast third. You know, which a lot of times feels pretty high risk, right? But I guess he knows how to handle that balancing act pretty well.
I can't believe he did that versus the quick Marauder concussive shells pressure.
Yeah, like I look
so
at the
fearless.
Marauder concussive, I'm like, oh well, you can't take a third base versus
Right.
this, right? I mean, this being out on the map at all, this feels super risky, but apparently not. He just kind of micros well and trades. And man, that looked like a very different PvT than the Kier versus Zhao game. That's for sure.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, Kier just walked across the map and won that. Obviously, he went for a third TC in this series, in that map.
Yeah.
So a less aggressive build, a little bit more eco-focused. But with the Marauder opening, which is also aggressive, so a bit of a mix. But Clem, I saw a thing about the eBay block, just how fast he dealt with that compared to some of the other Protosses I see.
Yeah.
It really didn't slow him down that much. And then he just fearlessly took the third, even in the face of that pressure, and didn't lose that much.
Kind of looked like a StarCraft 1 PvT. You know what I mean? Like, you know, normally a lot of Zealots and Dragoons, not a whole lot of sophisticated tech. The Colossus did eventually come. The Immortal did eventually, but it was much, much later. Instead, it was just a charge tech and kind of looking for fights. What blows me away is I never thought we'd see the game ending with Clem pushing Kier.
Right.
And kill him. I thought it was going to be the other way around, that Kier would be pushing Clem, and Clem would probably hold it off. But that goes to show you how strong that style of play is. So we're going to go into map number 2, called At Eternity's Edge, and see if Kier can come back, or if Clem is going to win this out 2-0.
I'm always just so impressed by Clem. Playing a TVZ and then playing a PvT at this level, I mean, it just makes you want to give up Tasteless. It's just like, this guy can play 2 races.
No,
at this high level is like, how gifted is this kid? And here's me, you know.
Oh no, I mean, when I play somebody who can like beat me with their off race, I'm like, I want to die. Like, I am so angry right now. Like, this isn't supposed to happen. But yeah, I mean, Clem, he's pure talent here. Now watch, this is my redemption moment. He's going to eBay block here. All right.
Oh no, Tasteless.
Oh no.
Oh no, Tasteless. I thought you knew.
Oh, I can hear them laughing at me. Oh my god. Oh my god. All right, guys. Here's my caster badge. I'm turning it. I'm quitting the force. Take my gun. Take my badge. I'm not a caster anymore.
Oh, that is so funny.
Oh my god. I thought that was the natural he was going to.
Almost. Very close.
Man.
It's going to be just below the natural there, where we do see that barracks going down. Kier mixing it up here in game number 3. And it's so close. You're going to get the unit into their base extremely quickly here. On the flip side, you know, they're going to find it quickly as well, because there's no way else a unit could get there that fast.
Yeah, now the probe's going to come up here. Immediately, you know that there's a barracks hidden somewhere on the map. So how exactly is Clem going to handle this? He did a great job holding off the third base. He's just going to check the hiding location here. Any barracks hidden over there. And it's not. So the first Reaper is going to come out here. This is going to get here really fast. And there's actually a bunker being made here, wedged in between the minerals and the Nexus. Super annoying. It's actually kind of hard for the probe to even get over here and get this.
Yeah, indeed. The SCV can kind of dance from one side to the other. There's the mineral lines that the probe has to run around. The Reaper will be here as well. So I think this bunker will definitely end up going up. And then it's all about how quickly and how efficiently can Clem clear this out and get his mining going at the natural. Still a probe here, which is just going to go down, it looks like. He's going to throw that shield battery first, though.
Yeah, 2 batteries come down immediately.
And that's key to actually break this bunker, right? If you don't have the batteries, it's actually really hard to kill this bunker.
Yeah, super annoying. Remember that those projectiles from the Stalker, they have to actually...
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are continuing on with Classic versus Shin in the first elimination match of the RSL playoffs. I'm State, with me is Gemini, and already the series, it's looking pretty close between these two.
Yeah, 1-1 to start us off. No 3-0s today so far, which is nice to see. Both these players are obviously in great shape overall. Like, you know, these are some of the best players that we have right now. So I would be kind of surprised if this was a 3-0 one way or the other. I was kind of surprised in general from the results of the upper bracket. So it's nice to see a nice little 1-1 to start us off today.
Yeah, and it's still crazy to me that we will be eliminating one of these players, either Classic or Shin, today here. Early in what's the round 1 of the double elimination bracket here in the lower bracket is map number 3 is loading in. I mean, Classic is still top 2, top 3 Protoss players in the world right now, easily. And Shin is making a strong case for himself to be the best Zerg in Korea. So to have these two Titans really fighting for their lives here on Ruby Rock, it is exciting times indeed, as we have Shin spawning in the bottom right as the red Zerg, Classic, the blue Protoss in the top left.
I'm looking for when Classic will eventually throw out the Adept build, because I feel like it seems like that just always happens at least once in a series.
Glaives,
in a PvZ? Yeah, the Glaive follow-up to Stargate. I feel like that just kind of happens in general once a PvZ at all. Like, I feel like we're just kind of waiting to see when that happens. I feel like this is a decent map for it, just because it's a little bit smaller, a little bit closer rush distances. This could be where Classic tries to bring something like that out. Shin got absolutely destroyed with that build against Hero in the upper bracket, so something that could come to effect here in this matchup as well. So I'm looking to see if Classic wants to throw that in and when that will actually be.
And we'll see if Classic's going to go for it. Shin opting for the hatch, pool, and gas relatively early here. So pretty standard build, honestly, coming in here by Shin. Speed should be finishing up at around 3:30, and we'll see what Classic's able to get done in the early game on his side of the map. For now, it's just Classic building up about as standard as it gets. Nexus before core here on 20. We'll be throwing down the Cybernex core, second gas, and then we're going to have to wait for the core to finish to see exactly where Classic's going to want to take this game.
Yeah, now we get to do that wonderful thing in the early game of PvZ, is we just wait for that to happen. We wait for the Cybercore to finish. We wait to see what exactly these guys are going to do, because, yeah, that's literally all there is to wait for in this early game. We got probes messing with minerals and drones. Of course, if you can get a couple blocks, you can maybe deny 0.5 minerals per minute or something like that. But it honestly just asserts dominance, to be honest. You know, that's the real thing that they're trying to do, I feel like. That's what I do whenever I'm playing. I'm not caring about how many minerals I'm blocking. I'm just like, can I micro better than you?
Yeah, but I've seen you stream. When you're doing this, Gemini, you go back to your base and like all of your minerals, you have like 3 on the fire patches and 1 on the close patches. Your supply
to
blocks.
Make my second pylon. Yeah,
the Nexus is 30 seconds
the
late.
The 22 pylon has been missed so many times because I'm just focusing so hard to try and just destroy them in the mineral micro.
The game's really fast, man. I've been laddering a lot more recently, and it's harder than it looks to do something as simple as just execute good worker harass while also following a build to a T back at home. I mean, just have so much respect for players like Classic and Shin and really everybody else that competes at the pro level, because they are just so good at this game. And for now, we have Classic opening up, I think, the same way that he did both in Game 1 and Game 2. Adept into Stalker with a Stargate follow-up here for Classic. Will likely be an Oracle first, and indeed it is.
We'll complete the shade as well to try and get that deep scout, since he's got a lot of room without creep to be able to move around. We'll be able to confirm that spawning pool is there, of course, and researching, not going for any super fast lair or anything like that, which does come into play every now and then. You might see some early lair all-in or something like that, but very rare, but still want to try to get that information if possible.
Yeah, even seeing drones getting rallied down from the main base to the natural expansion is meaningful information here for Classic, because 3:30 is the mark where speed should be finishing up, and it finishes up right at 3:34. And that means that Classic, this is the moment where you might want to be a little bit cautious about potentially Lings coming across the map to try and get into your natural or your main base, try and go for the third, especially when you do, say, a third Nexus before Gateway, the way that Classic did. And that Adept basically gave Classic the information that he needs to go for this build. Otherwise, if he's in the dark, maybe you need to throw down a second Gateway to finish walling off the natural expansion before he can go for this third.
Yeah, it's good calculated greed overall from Classic, knowing that he's safe to go for this. And the second Oracle just makes it even easier for him. We'll, of course, send those out, and the third one coming up as well. So very standard. This is basically, like you said, what he's been doing with the 3 Oracles, with the Stalker and the Adept and everything. So this will be nice and good from Classic as he gets the Twilight and Forge, and then, of course, we'll see what exactly he wants to go for after that. Normally, this should not be Glaives, just because you're going for the Forge as well. You generally skip that when you're going for that build, as the Oracles will try to come on in, get a couple of drones, will one-shot just a few. 4 in total actually is quite nice from your first 2 Oracles, as that Queen is getting juked all over the place, and those Oracles will get out cleanly.
Yeah, when you get the Forge this early, I feel like it's most of the time going to be charge and +1 ground weapons, although it could also be Blink. Both styles are an option here for Classic as we wait to see what the tech of choice is going to be. Oh, and a robotics facility quite early coming in here for Classic. What is this going to be?
You can see him waiting on the Templar Arc, or sorry, the Twilight Council as well. He was kind of waiting a little bit. I feel like he was maybe, yeah, I guess he's going for the fast Templar Archives. I thought he was going to try and get an extra scout to see exactly if he can find the tech building, because I feel like you want to sometimes go for charge if you don't see a Roach Warren, and then you go for blink if you do see the Roach Warren. That's generally how it kind of works, but doesn't get the scout until just now, but did already commit to the charge and the fast Templar Archive. So we'll see how that actually comes into effect in this game, because this looks like a situation where Classic would rather prefer going for blink, but you can still try to make this work anyways.
Well, Classic's PvZ is so Archon focused that I think this was just the plan coming in from the beginning to go for the charge. It's just that he wants the Templar Archives, he wants Storm as fast as possible, because oftentimes when you as the Protoss player are going for Storm, the biggest vulnerability that you're going to have is the moments before Storm is done, because that's when a lot of Zerg timing attacks actually hit. And so Classic just expediting that, going for the Storm before charge, going for the Storm before adding in the 6 additional gateways or beginning Immortal production. It makes sure that Classic does have Storm online by the time that Shin actually moves across the map, if Shin is gunning for some sort of timing.
Classic is doing great with these Oracles as well. He's really just finding weaknesses in Shin's defense. These Queens are not quite responding perfectly in the right positions, unable to defend them, so 5 extra drones get killed off, and the scout on the Spire from Classic as well. So great moves from the Oracles, not something you normally see in the PvZ matchup. Generally at this point, the Queens are able to, zone them away pretty easily, but Classic finding little holes here and there.
Interesting revelation, by the way, by Classic. I think he cast Revelation on those rocks, and originally I thought it was for him to go for the tumors, but I don't think he actually activated an Oracle to take down the tumors, so he just wants to see Shin take down these rocks. I just thought that was an interesting little quirk.
It is interesting. Something else very interesting is both players' worker counts right now. State if you would like to take a look at that. But
yeah, 67 apiece. So each player has basically full 3 base saturation right now. 66 drones is what you need. It's 22 per base. I think we likely will see Classic cut workers at this amount for at least the foreseeable future, because he needs to get all hands on deck to try and hold on against the push that Shin is going for. Shin, by the way, he's actually eclipsed Classic now in worker count. He's saturating the 4th base completely, going up to 82 plus workers.
Yeah, definitely breaking away from that 67 worker count right there, as the Mutas will start to go across the map. Nice reactions overall, though, from Classic, because he got that scout very early. He's already got some cannons in position. He's got some batteries. He's got double Stargate coming out with Phoenix as well. So these mutas will not do anything. Unfortunately for Classic, that was not a lot of mutas that Shin actually invested into, although he's actually now going into a bunch of corruptors, so he might actually try to go for the whole muta corruptor style, and yes, he will. Okay, so I was at first going to say this is just a bait and switch. Force your opponent to overreact to the muta defense while you go into a huge Roach Ravager ground army, but it's actually going to be the full commitment to muta corruptor. It's straight up Heart of the Swarm style right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this because Classic, he was opting to go for a second Stargate perhaps regardless of this, although it might be a response here to the muta. In any case, the second Stargate, it is excellent at churning out Phoenix to deal with what Shin is going for. And if Classic really catches wind of this, throws down a Fleet Beacon for Phoenix range and also begins getting +1 air weapons, the Phoenix begin to outscale Mutalist Corruptor so hard, so quickly, that eventually, you know, if Shin wants to try and take a favorable trade, he's going to rely on something like Parasitic Bomb or Fungal to actually get a good exchange. And Shin doubling down on this, you know, Classic, he has not missed a beat. He just continues the Phoenix production. Let's see what Shin can get done.
He's going to try to dive bomb the main here. Will be able to kill off that cannon and uses the Corruptors to zone everything else away. The Warp-In of Stalkers also getting jumped on by the Muta, so those are going to get killed off pretty quickly as well. And the Phoenix is not super high enough in number just yet, as we saw Classic actually delay the Phoenixes for just a moment because he needed to confirm if Shin was actually committing to them or not, so he's not been making them fully consistently. And now this fourth base is going to get canceled by the Roach Ravager. Pretty decent start overall, I would say, from Shin.
Oh no, this is excellent. Classic honestly fumbling the defense a little bit. If I were to say is, oh no, the Templar getting isolated right now. They do have a shield battery giving them some sustain, so they will not get picked off by that paltry number of roaches. But you know, Classic, he was kind of panicking when Shin came into the main base with all these mutas and corruptors. He brought in Immortals, he brought in Zealots, he brought all the Templar to the main base the same way that we see him doing right now. And that culminated in Classic actually losing the fourth expansion. The Nexus was about 75%, maybe a little bit more complete. The ground forces were not there to actually defend.
Those storms could have been really good. Of course, Shin is able to move away from them, though. As the rest of the army is just kind of chasing these units, the Immortals left over here will be able to get killed off as well by the reinforcing Roaches and Zerglings. Another storm trying to keep these units away for now. Will be able to kill off some of these, but yeah, Shin is doing a pretty good job of just kind of keeping the tempo up, just kind of going back and forth between the different bases, making Classic just run all over the place, trying to defend everything. And he's getting extra bases set up himself. He's got so many exterior bases at this point. He's getting Spine Crawlers up as well to deny possible counterattacks, and he just keeps diving into the main.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit... I would love to see Classic start +1 air weapons with this, because +1 air weapons, because Phoenix have 2 shots, it makes such a difference when you're battling Corruptors with their high base armor. I really think it might be a mistake here for Classic not going for this. Of course, Gas, when you're playing on 3 bases like this one, it is hard to come by, so he's earmarking it instead for more Phoenix, for getting Phoenix range, but perhaps something to optimize here for Classic is Shin once more coming into the third base. Mutas and Corruptors getting really good damage done. The entire mineral line is going to fall. Only 5 probes remaining at that Vespene Geyser. Shoes will be able to zone away the Mutas and the Corruptors, but look at this. Classic at a barely 100 supply right now. Shin nearly maxed.
Yeah, this is looking great for Shin. I mean, Classic is knocked down to a 2-base economy, and the Mutas and Corruptors are barely even getting touched. There's a couple storms that get thrown down. The Phoenix might be able to pick off one here and there, but this Mutaball is not dying. They're able to fight up against the cannons as well, forcing all of Classic's army to respond every single time it moves anywhere. And now that Phoenix range is finished, it will be a much easier time for Classic to be able to kite this army. As you can see right here, he's starting to get some better trades overall. And a nice storm actually there as well. 2 of them going down will be able to soften those mutas up quite nicely. But I feel like the damage definitely has been done at this point. As you said, Shin is already maxed, still maxed. He's got tons of bases, like I was saying earlier as well. He's really putting himself into a nice position to try to end this game.
Yeah, Shin coming in once more. The third base is still mostly empty of workers here for Classic. Is Classic just trying to survive right now? And the good news for Classic is that Shin, he's not getting considerably stronger from moment to moment. He's been maxed for a very long time, and because the drone count is so high, yes, the economy of Shin is pumping. Yes, he has a lot of upgrades coming online, but it's not like Shin's army itself is getting significantly bigger. So Classic, if he's able to get up to, say, 130 supply, 140 supply, might be able to finally take a 4th base and might have a ticket back into this game. But right now, Shin just firing on all cylinders.
All right, a couple storms just trying to zone everything away and give space to the Phoenix, but then just dive bombing those is Shin with his mutas. Good damage overall onto them again, but if you just don't kill the mutas, then they're not actually going to, they just run away and just heal up. They have that very fast healing as well when they're out of combat, so it's very difficult to actually confirm the death of these when your Phoenix count is so low. Units getting caught out in the front as well. 13 more probes getting killed off. Classic is on 36 right now, as he's still struggling to try to get a couple more Phoenixes out. And sure, that's going to be great if he can get some more Phoenixes to deal with the mutas, but there was just a bunch of Ultras on the production tab as well from Shin.
Yeah, the Ultra switch is going to be brutal here for Classic, as so much of his economy, it's focused on dealing with the air of Shin. And Shin just traded out a lot of Corruptors, a lot of mutas, pretty fairly well, might I add. I mean, that was good there in the main base. He got Templar, he got a lot of Phoenix. Classic feels like he has to double down on the Phoenix and continue production. That is not going to help you against the Ultras. Let me tell you, Gemini, little tip for you. Phoenix, they cannot lift up Ultras.
Whoa, really?
This is gonna be absolutely savage. 8 Ultras coming onto the field. +3 melee weapons is getting researched. +2 Carapace is getting researched. Ultra armor will be done in just a couple of moments. And I'm scared right now for Classic. He still doesn't have a 4th base, and you know what? He's saying, I have to move out. This is my only window. I'm not getting better. I can't play a long game. Let's see what we can do. But these Ultras are going to clean everything up.
Dude, he had no idea as well. I mean, look at his ground army. It's got nothing. Look at that. Shin with a very decisive game. It was 14 minutes. It kind of took him a little bit to get there, but that's just kind of the nature of the style. He was in control that entire time.
Yeah, it's kind of a war of attrition that you play as the Muta Corruptor player, where you're keeping Protoss controlled and contained on 3 bases, you're sniping economy, and you're making sure that the trades, even if they aren't beneficial to you in terms of how many units you're losing versus how many you're actually killing, your economy is going to be way bigger than the Protoss. I mean, Shin was close to, what, 90+ workers? Classic was struggling to even saturate the 3rd mineral line with how much harassment was coming his way. Beautifully played game there by Shin.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because Classic got the scout so early that there were mutas, and he was prepared. He had the cannon set up, he had the 2nd Stargate coming in, he had multiple Phoenix being made in preparation, but he didn't quite realize, he took the fake bait, I guess. He thought that it was just going to be a couple of mutas just trying to bait him to switch his tech, and then he paused on the Phoenixes. Then he got the confirmation, but it was like just slightly too late, and then the mutas and Corruptors just started getting slight trades here and there, probes getting killed off in each mineral line, and it just really started to snowball for Shin from that point.
It felt to me like the 2 key mistakes the Classic made, even though, I mean, these are insane situations. It's so hard to do everything perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
It was pulling back some of the ground army to the main base. When the Mutalisks and Corruptors were initially coming in. I think it was just Classic panicking perhaps a little bit, scrambling to try and defend, because we had Immortals and Zealots in the main base that weren't defending the economy of Classic on the ground. And then also, I go back to the +1 air weapons. I really do think it would have made a difference early on against such a Corruptor-heavy regiment of units in the air there for Shin. In any case, Shin just outperforming Classic there in game number 3, and now it is match point here in this best of 5. Shin just needs to win one more map to advance to the next round at the lower bracket quarterfinals. Classic, if he loses here on 10,000 feet, he is out of the RSL.
That is true. Although this is, I would say, a fairly good map for him to try and make this comeback happen on. I think this map would suit his style overall. Classic, of course, like we've been saying, over the series, likes to try and be very passive and defensive and make it to that late game. Looks like Shin, realizing this, will be trying to stop that from happening, as he's sent actually 2 drones across the map with an early pool and an early gas. He's going to be going for actually the extractor on the left, and he's going to try to mine out these minerals. He's going to mine the minerals, and then he goes into the gas, and it replaces the minerals with gas, so then you can mine more minerals. So you don't have to bring a whole bunch of drones to do that quickly. You can do it with just 1 or 2. So this is going to be a very aggressive strategy coming from Shin. He's going to try to end this game before Classic has any chance to bring it to a macro stage.
And how quickly is Classic going to realize this? I think he's already going to throw down the 2nd pylon here.
Nice.
Well, you see that the mineral line of Shin is just so sparsely populated that something has got to be up. If Classic was paying close attention, he wouldn't see that there's already 1 mineral patch that has been mined out here, and he's actually going to confirm it. Oh, he didn't actually see the extractor. I think Classic knows.
He should know, because he's going to see it with the pylon as well.
If he didn't know already, he knows now.
Yeah, so he gets that confirmation. We'll know exactly what's going on. He's going to rally that Zealot down there as well, and he's got his probe coming up, so he's going to be able to help with that wall off. So this should be pretty easily defended from Classic, I would say. This has not worked out the way that Shin has wanted just yet. Of course, you can still kill this probe, and you might be able to sneak on past, as the Zealot is not quite in the same position there. So we'll get into the main base, but this is still looking like it's going to be a defense overall from Classic, and it's going to be up to Shin to be able to respond and react, of course, getting his hatchery down there as well. well at his natural, trying to go into a macro game.
Well, we did have more Lings produced by Shin, so he's going to be trying to get some damage done there in the natural expansion, but I'm right there with you. I feel like you have to try and transition out of this. As Shin, it was a bold play, going for the fast mine out there on the minerals, but he hasn't yet been able to breach into the base of Classic, except for just a small number of Lings, and he might actually be able to take down this gateway. If Classic doesn't throw down another structure, okay, he does throw down another structure. The thing is that the damage output of 2 Adepts at the Wallen is going to be so high. I'm not sure Shin can make this work, but you know, you might as well try and get some damage done with the Lings that you've already got, right?
Yeah, I like that he did kill the gateway, though, because that does actually limit the amount of potential counter damage that the Protoss could do. There is speed, so it's still risky to go for that in general, but sometimes when you do go for these early attacks as the Zerg player, a threat is if they respond with 2 gateways, they could then just run across the map with a lot of Zealots and Adepts and make it very difficult for you to take a 3rd base or to drone up at your natural. But that's going to be less of an issue, of course, with speed and with one of the gateways getting killed off, so I like that Shin tried it. Classic's natural also was pretty late, considering the fact that he went for this double gate response as well. So there's still leeway here for Shin to try and get back in this early game, I would say. It's not like he's been at a total loss, because of course this will be a delayed natural from Classic. But now is the question of, can he defend these triple Adepts?
Oh, that Queen pops out of the opportune moment. The Evolution Chamber thrown down as well. Shades will get past that. They're going to find their way into the main base, but the Lings have already come back from across the map. That's going to lead to a cancel and perhaps a recall? No, no recall. Okay, finally now it's coming through, but I think in total we might have had only 1 drone. No, 0 drones picked off by Classic. Oh, Shin's got to be feeling so good about that.
Yeah, that's a great defense. I mean, 3 Adepts at that point when your Lings were a bit out of position as well. Very easy to lose control there and lose a couple drones. The Evo Chamber block maybe doesn't go off, and then suddenly you're kind of spiraling with already a low drone count. So very nice defense from Shin. We'll send some more of these Lings across. Of course, it did kind of force a few extra Lings, which is still a win for Classic in that regard, but losing an Adept or 2, forcing the recall early and not actually getting drone damage directly is gonna, of course, be feeling a little bit bad for him, but I would say this is still fine playable. This is kind of an equalized early game from both players, I'd say.
Yeah, and Shin's doing one of the things that he does best in this game, which is just kind of throw the Protoss off their rhythm. I mean, so much of Protoss development in the early game is about kind of just crossing your T's, dotting your I's, making sure that you're macroing everything properly, making sure that your build is streamlined. And Shin has succeeded in making this game weird. This is a very uncomfortable position for Classic to be in, and I think he feels a little bit pressed to try and get damage done. So Classic right now committing with a fair number of Adepts, going to see if he can find that damage. Unfortunately, I think Shin has enough Lings to deal with this. We'll see.
This is actually interesting, though, because it is a lot of Adepts, and he does have that Oracle there to help as well. You could pressure this 3rd base for a good amount of time. You keep sending the Shades across, and those Queens alone shouldn't really be able to... Okay, I guess it is going to scare the Adepts away. I was going to say, they don't do that much damage, so I feel like he could have maybe tried to go for that a little bit more. But Mapu pointing out, of course, Recall was already used, so perhaps Classic just wanted to be very safe with this, doesn't want to just throw away the units for no reason. Sees that the 3rd base is relatively late already, so it doesn't feel the need to go super heavy on that aggression.
Classic would have loved to get some direct damage done there on Shin, but Classic did, with an Adept move out, actually succeed in getting some significant indirect damage done. And by that I mean Shin had to spend a lot of larva on Lings. There's 33 Lings now on the map to make sure that he would be safe for his Adept pressure. That's one of the reasons why Shin is right now only at 48 drones to the 44 of Classic. Classic has been utilizing his army presence on the map to try and keep the Zerg economy under control. And once more, he's doing it again. Shin has to make more Lings, has to respect the threat of this push. He doesn't know if there's a Glaives follow-up to this. He doesn't know exactly what the timings are going to be here for Classic. And this is keeping Shin on a pretty low drone count.
Yeah, I love this response from Classic. This is something similar that I've seen and that I've done as well, versus like if you get 12 pulled early, you can just get a lot of early Adepts if they don't have speed, and then you can just consistently force Shades, and it's so difficult for the Zerg as another great attack comes in from Classic, killing 8 drones, sacrificing 1 Oracle to do so. I think that's very worthwhile, considering the fact that Shin's already on a low eco as well, so very nice setup there for Classic. And the Shades just constantly make it so difficult for the Zerg to know, are you actually going to commit, are you not going to, and then it's forcing that indirect damage, like you said, to try and defend with all those extra Lings.
So Shin going to be working up towards 3 base saturation here, mostly focusing on the minerals as he's playing a +1 melee style. Fourth hatchery. Classic, if he wanted to, could activate those oracles, take that hatchery down and potentially the drone, but instead he's going to try and go back to the third base. He can find some damage. Queen's already really laying on the hurt to these oracles, though.
Stasis Sword's going to try to go down, but enough Queens there will be able to DPS that away. So nicely done from Shin. Good defense there, but again, the worker count is pretty equal, which is, I feel like from a Zerg POV, not exactly what you're looking for. And he's also got a big round of drones coming up right now as Classic is starting to set up yet another pressure on the map with some units on the left-hand side. He does have Blink and +1 coming up and Storm, so he's not trying to do any crazy things just now. He's just trying to maybe delay a fourth base, maybe get a cancel if possible, or again, just forcing more units that are not drones, because he's going to be setting himself up for that Storm, for that Blink transition, for what is going to be a Hydra Ling Bane mid-game from Shin.
All right, Shin going for the Surround right now. Adept Shades. Oh, actually not going to complete. Instead, Classic going for the recall. Banelings did not get the connection. They were blocked by the Ling. So Classic not losing too much, but the fourth hatchery, it does survive.
Yeah, it would have been great if he could kill that, obviously. It was very low. You could see Classic kind of was trying to get those last couple hits with the Oracle, but unable to do so. A bit of an overextension, but again, the recall was able to save quite a few units, so I think it's not really that big of a deal, but having that cooldown being wasted there is a bit unfortunate. But now Shin, of course, is going to be going on the aggressive as well coming into this mid-game here. So Classic will try to come out again now that Storm is about to finish and now that Blink is done as well. Is this going to be an unfortunate situation where Classic starts to attack into someone that's already trying to all-in him is the question. Oh, never mind. He's just going to target down that fourth base. That's actually great. But a couple Templar getting caught as well.
Yeah, fourth base gets cleaned up, but now we have a lot of Lings coming in. I think eventually Classic is going to have to trade out this army, so it's all about taking the best trade possible. He's going to blink forward, try and get the Hydralisks. This is the price that you pay as Classic, moving out to try and snipe that fourth hatchery with no recall. Was it worth it? I think that question is up in the air. Personally, I don't think so. That was a lot of Stalkers traded. But the economy of Shin, it has been significantly interrupted by this.
Yeah, that is a very bold move that Classic went to. I mean, considering he just used recall, it's such a ballsy move to go for that. Loses all the units essentially, and now Shin is going to be really aggressive, even getting some drop overlords as well, trying to send those, I guess, into the main base most likely. We'll be sending a lot of Lings and Banelings in there, so that's going to be very difficult for Classic to deal with if he's not prepared. He's got to be able to split his army very efficiently, and since he already lost a few Templar early as well, it's going to be very difficult to do so.
Yeah, the Overlord's moving now on a trajectory towards the main base of Classic. Forge gets contaminated, +2 ground weapons will be delayed, but it's not near completion just yet. And Classic, he's trying to set up for the 4-base play where you hunker down, you throw down static defense, you get the fleet beacon, you get a mothership out. Unfortunately for him, I don't think that Shin will be giving Classic that time. The Overlords, they're getting closer and closer to the main base. Banelings now coming into the third, forcing a response from Classic. The Storm's going to land. And now even more Templar are getting caught. I think 1 or 2 of them do fall. We have 3 Templar remaining here for Classic, but Shin's able to pick them off, and now the drop is in the main base.
Yeah, this is going to be devastating damage. There's really nothing to defend except for a single cannon, although the Warp-in Templar using battery recharge also going to get thrown down there, so it's going to help with the defense, but 14 probes have already gotten killed off, and there's still more units rallying across the map for Shin. He's got plenty of army supply, and there's nothing to defend over here on this right-hand side for now.
More reinforcements coming from Shin. Classic has 1 more Storm, and that seems to be enough to hold back the tide for now. The mothership behind all this, it did not get started because Classic, he needed to scrap together all of the bank that he had to try and hold on, whether it be warping in Zealots, whether it be warping in Templar for Storms and for Archons, throwing down more static defense. He simply couldn't afford to start the mothership, but now that timer has begun. If the mothership gets out on the field, it'll go a long way towards helping Classic stabilize and moving on to the next stage of this game.
That Templar Warp-in with the energy recharge as well was so clutch from Classic. If he didn't actually have that cooldown online or any energy, that would have done way more damage in the main base with the Zerglings and the Hydras. So very nice to be able to get that. We'll keep him alive for now, but again, the army supply difference is still very drastic at this point. And like State said, this is all hinging on that mothership. Needs to make sure that he can get that out to be able to secure this defense, but until that point, it's going to still be very up in the air as more probes getting forced away at this forward base. Banelings trying to run off into these Zealots and Archons as well, so good split so far, but these drop overlords are still a menace.
Yeah, Mothership is finishing up, but the third expansion here for Classic has lost a lot of workers, completely emptied. I think the Nexus is going to fall, and the Mothership trying to solo
my God.
the Hydras, but there's just enough.
He intercepts the Mothership coming out. That's insane. I can't believe he actually gets that.
Yeah, the Mothership falling. I mean, that's such a tragic loss here for Classic. 20 more workers going down. I mean, Shin, the impressive part about all of this timing is that he's actually been cost efficient in these trades. It is Classic who has lost more resources trying to hold on. That's a big reason why it's Shin up 70 supply here as he streams more units across the map. Classic down. Just a couple of units left. I mean, the Kadarian Amulet comes in again here with energy recharge on a Warp 10 Templar. That is one storm that catches some lings, but I think it is not going to be enough.
Yes, Shin has actually managed to beat Classic at this point. A force field desperation to try and keep some of these units out. I don't think that's going to work for you, Classic, as Shin will be able to defeat Classic 3-1. In this first lower bracket match. Classic out of the RSL. Another disappointing season from him this year.
Yeah, it's a bit of an upset for Classic getting knocked out, but I mean, going up against Shin, who seems to be playing the best that he has played really in recent memory, going back maybe to the last time that he was in the GSL Finals versus Mars some years ago. I mean, Shin just looks incredible. You know, he's playing these very aggressive styles. He's going for kind of quirky openings, but the way that he's doing it, everything is kind of unique, you know? Every single game isn't exactly the same. He's not giving Classic one panacea. It's like, well, Classic can go for just one kind of build or one kind of style to deal with everything that Shin throws at him. No, we have drones mining out minerals in the early stages with an early pool just to make the game weird. We have Hydralisk busts. We have Mass Overlord drops into the main base. We have Muta Corruptor into Ultra. Shin is playing the complete package of ZBP right now.
Yeah, it's really cool how unique each of those games looked. It was none of them were a carbon copy of each other, and it's just showing that, like you said, Shin just kind of has this mastery of the matchup at this point, at least versus Classic. Unfortunately, wasn't able to show that too much versus Hero earlier on in the tournament, but was able to at least bring it out versus Classic when everything was on the line, so that's good to see from him. And we'll be moving forward to move on later on into the tournament. And of course, coming up next is going to be Rogue versus Bunny as our TVZ to round out the day.
Yeah, we are not done yet here at the RSL. We have one more best of 5 to be played with Rogue versus Bunny. I mean, talk about strong Zergs in Korea. Shin and Rogue seem to be my number 1 and number 2 right now. And it's kind of funny, too, Gemini. If I think about it, it seems like the styles of Rogue and Shin are just on a trajectory to keep getting more and more similar over the past couple of months. Do you notice this, too? Everybody, all of these Zerg players are trying to get more crafty with the openings and just really kind of dislodge the dislodge the Protoss. I mean, Shin did dislodge Classic from any modicum of comfort there in that series, but just dislodge the Protoss from their early game plans, and it really has been working.
Yes, indeed. Go ahead, check out our merch site as well over on tastelessthreads.com. We got some great stuff over there. RSL merch, we've got just general gamer stuff, and you, of course, can get the very handsome photo of Tasteless and Artosis photorealistic rendition as well on a shirt for your own comfort. I believe Patreons get 20% discount, so you can go ahead and check that on out for all your StarCraft and other RSL merch needs.
All right, folks, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, the second best of 5 of the day, Rogue versus Bunny. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you soon.
What's up, guys? Tasteless here. I'm very excited to show you the Protoss units we just finished assembling from the StarCraft Tabletop Miniatures game. And look at how amazing these came out. We've got the Zealot over here. We've also got a figurine with the Zealot shields being shown, as if it's taking damage. We've also got Adepts, and I love that they brought out this mechanic from the game. You also have an Adept Shade here. How sick is this? They also brought out the Sentry with the Force Field. All the mechanics that come from StarCraft you can find in this game. In this one, we also get the Pylon in the game as well. With Zerg, you get Kerrigan. With Terran, you get Raynor. With Protoss, the hero unit is Artanis. Beyond this looking amazing, you gotta remember this is actually a game that you can play with your friends. Each unit comes with a corresponding card. You look at the card, you can see the different attributes for that unit. In this case, Artanis is a commander, so he's able to better control different objectives during the game. Just like in a classic game of StarCraft, every unit has upgrades. So you turn your card around, and as you can see, there are different upgrades you can get. Those are going to give you different abilities that you can use when you're playing the game. When you start the game, you get both minerals and Vespian gas. The minerals allow you to unlock units The Vespian Gas, you get to unlock tactical cards. Take a tactical card, flip it around, you see what kind of abilities you're going to be able to cast when you're playing the game. In order to get started, go to the StarCraft Tabletop Miniatures game website. There you can find the game rules, but also the army builder. From there, you pick a faction, how many minerals and Vespian Gas you get. You spend those minerals and Vespian Gas to unlock units and tactical cards. And from there, you're ready to go. For more information about the StarCraft Tabletop Miniatures game, go to Archon Studios' website and sign up for their newsletter. Check it out.
On to the playoffs.
This is from Archon Studio. They reached out to us right when we started the RSL, and I gotta say, they've been an incredible sponsor.
Put the box away, Tasteless. The games are ready to go.
What?
There was Tasteless was on the screen there, didn't
I
they?
was like, what are you talking about?
You're like, I'm so scared. I'm on camera with you, and I don't know what you're doing right now. Ah!
Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, yeah. Put that box away,
Put your
Tasteless.
toys away, Tasteless.
Yeah.
The games are ready to start.
Let's do it.
Lambo playing pretty well today.
You played great, man. That series was so clinical.
By the way, really short. What time is it? Yeah, it's like
It's not
we're
even
like
9.
Speed running through this group here. So yeah, it's going to be Kier versus Lambo here for the final match in Group D. This is a fight for the final spot to advance here in the next phase of the RSL.
Yep.
When we finish this, do not turn off the stream. Do not stop watching the video because we're going to be doing the group draw. So we're going to see, or not group draw, we're going to do the bracket draw and see where these guys end up. So you'll have an idea of what the rest of RSL is looking like.
Yeah, it's going to be Kier versus Lambo, as one of these two will be taking that final spot. Missing you today, 10K Feet and Ruby Rock are going to be the maps that we're going to be playing for this final set of the day. Missing you today's loaded on up. Let's get started with Lambo versus Kier.
All right. Kier here in the bottom right, Lambo in the top left. And I got to say, I mean, Clem kind of rocketed out of this group so fast.
Yeah.
It completely turned my world upside down. Seeing like Kier murder Zhao and then get dumpstered by Clem. I'm like, oh my god! All right, like I don't know where to put these two right now.
Yeah, it's such a weird situation when you have two different players just trash other players, but then get trashed as well by that other player.
Yeah,
it's
you're
just like it's such a strange hierarchy of where we should place all of these skill levels.
This is one of the things I think that makes StarCraft and RTS games in general really good. Is like the skill ceiling gets so high.
Yeah.
Even like at the very top of tournaments, it's like, oh, there's like a couple guys that they can't be touched by these other guys. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, so far we've got a very exciting lineup here for the players who've advanced, and the final spot's going to be filled by one of these two.
I really wonder as well, just to go back to the Kier versus Clem thing a little bit, I wonder how much of that is a mentality thing. Because we were kind of talking about this a little off camera as well, how it's like you're playing against someone's off race and they're so good at it and you're losing to it. And Kier has lost to Clem's Protoss so many times now. I wonder how much of this is just Kier in his own head being like, I can't believe, like, I keep losing to this damn French person and his dumb Protoss. Like,
oh, that's a big factor, man. Like, when I lose to someone's off race, I'm like, this is
Welcome back, everybody. We are getting ready to go into the second best of 5 of the night. It's going to be Rogue versus Bunny, and similar story to Classic versus Shin. One of them going to survive here in the RSL, one of them going home.
Yes, it's going to be quite a good series, I would say. I feel like these two are kind of been peaking lately. Bunny, of course, showed some great form in the groups. Rogue, of course, coming off of that great second-place finish from the last season of RSL as well, and has been doing pretty good. But unfortunately, yet again, both players are in the lower bracket. So, this is going to be basically the story. Can Rogue kind of repeat that crazy lower bracket run that he made last season? And is Bunny perhaps going to continue to go as far as ever in the RSL?
I mean, Rogue has just been looking so good lately. It's really fun to have this resurgence of Zergs in Korea, in particular Shin and Rogue just looking really to be at their peak. It's been years since I've seen Rogue and Shin play as well as they have been over the past couple of months, both in GSL and in RSL. Anyway, folks, map number 1 is loading in. It's going to be Celestial Enclave, if I'm not mistaken, the most macro-focused map that we have in the pool here at RSL to start at this best of 5 series. Let's see if it gives us an epic game.
Yeah, Yes, Bunny over the top right-hand side, Rogue on the bottom left-hand side as well. We'll see if we get any early game shenanigans, if any player wants to go through any early aggression. Bunny could throw out a couple proxies here and there throughout the series if he wants, but for now we'll be sticking to his guns, it looks like. Just be going for a normal build himself. We've seen a couple of CC firsts coming out of some of these Terrans as well versus Zerg, and then going for some more macro-focused play that way as well. So we'll see if Bunny wants to go for something like that, as it looks like he will be saving up quite a few minerals.
Yeah, good call, Gemini. Could be
Look at
CC
me.
first here for Bunny. Or he's just macroing really poorly.
Or he just
marine
forgot
expand.
what he's doing.
Oh, is that what the SCV's going to do? It's going to throw it in a barracks? No. CC first here for Bunny. We're going hatch first on the other side of the map. And we're already gearing up for what might be a long macro game between these two. Would love to see it, especially after how the first series between Classic and Shin, even though it went to game number 4, it felt like it was pretty explosive. You know, I would love to get some more long StarCraft matches here between these two. But let's see where Bunny wants to take this CC first build. Sometimes when Terran players opt for a CC first, even though obviously it's nothing super aggressive like a 2x Reaper opening or a proxy Marine opening, but CC first does transpose very well into timing attacks in the mid game if you want to go that way, whether it be 5 racks or a fast third CC into 8 racks. Your economy just coming online a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, often is the push that you need as a Terran player to get you over the hump of actually breaking a Zerg if you want to commit for some kind of aggression.
Yeah, and something actually that Clem brought out, I believe on this map as well versus Rogue in the series that Rogue lost, was a fast CC, a CC first, into a 3-racks Marine as well. So, and that actually did a lot of damage. It forced a lot of lings, killed a lot of lings, killed some drones. So that could be something that maybe is on the cards. The double gas from Bunny makes me feel like, yeah, it's not going to be that. It's going to be the factory follow-up, though, so not going to be that exact same build, but still a CC first and then going into that fast tech. So will be setting himself up for a potential mid-game push, like you said. Bunny generally is someone that likes that style as well. We're kind of accustomed to him going for those very early mid-game focused attacks. Not someone that tries to prolong the game super long like a Clem or a Maru that tries to really hunker down with that crazy Ghost Liberator style late game, but we'll go for those early aggression plays, so most likely will be one of those.
Yeah, Bunny is one player who, you know, I think I can recognize that he's become more well-rounded with time, but he's one player who, when I think of Bunny in peak shape, it kind of reminds me of a Terran player from a long time ago, Select, where so much of the gameplay is just focused on drops being sent in so aggressively, sometimes even without a scan, simply because Bunny doesn't want to telegraph to the opponent that there is a drop coming in with 3 or 4 medevacs. He's willing to take that risk. Since then, it feels like Bunny, he's spread his wings a little bit. He's able to play a much more Sable macro game if he wants to. He's able to play a game on the ground and focus on pushes in the mid game if he wants to. Let's see where he's going to take this one, though.
Yeah, it's going to be a stim opener, of course, after a couple of Hellions, and then we got the Starport coming online as well, so he's going to be going into a Viking as his first choice. Going to be trying to kill off some of these Overlords, trying to deny vision, try to make it so that way Rogue is on the, it's just guessing basically as to what exactly some kind of follow-up is going to be, make it difficult to scout that out. So Hellions will be able to pop out here and be able to try and deny some creep, check any fast fourth base timings or anything like that. We'll see how many he wants to commit to, and if he actually wants to like dive bomb with them into the mineral lines, or just kind of use them passively to clear creep.
Yeah, Bunny is for now picking a couple of Hellions down at the natural expansion. This could just be him trying to make sure that he's safe versus any Ling counterattack coming from Rogue. But it can also lead to him trying to go for some sort of timing, as Rogue, with 1 Overlord right now, spotting the Hellions, does know that there are 4 on the map. So Rogue is going to be very careful right now. He's building 5 Roaches, I think mostly just for safety here, as a force to keep the Hellions under control. And Rogue, I think in a moment, too, will also be taking a 4th base. He went for the very fast 3rd hatchery there at the backdoor expansion here on Celestial Enclave. But keep in mind that the 3rd base here on Celestial, if you do take that backdoor expansion, it's only got half the mineral patches or so. It's only got 1 Vespene Geyser. So the 4th hatch timing, very critical here for Rogue.
Yeah, one of the Overlords is going to get killed off, as the Viking Marine will be able to help with that. So Rogue will be a little bit in the dark and also slightly supply block, but the extra Overlord's coming in, so we'll be able to make sure he's able to keep producing. As the units will start to move across for Bunny to try and get that map control and also threaten anything, but the Roaches that Rogue made in his defense to make sure that he doesn't die to anything, will be able to dissuade those for now. He's actually just going to send them across the map. The Viking will see this, so Bunny, realizing where those Roaches are, will be able to just send the Hellions around, and Rogue maybe not expecting that, thinking that the Roaches alone will kind of trick Bunny into just wanting to be very defensive. Will, of course, now throw those back, and thankfully the Queens were in position, so no crazy damage done.
Yeah, I don't think Rogue would have gone for that move with the Roaches unless he was confident in the defensive setup back at home. And part of Rogue going for the backdoor expansion is him getting the flexibility to make maneuvers like that, even though he didn't really get any damage done with it. You know, the wall on it, the natural expansion that he has with the evolution chambers, with the Queens there, blocking the gap, it makes things very nice and safe here for Rogue, who is really filling out his tech tree. He's getting 1-1 upgrades right now with Melee and Carapace. Infestation Pit also started. I think Rogue is probably angling to go into Ultralisks on this one, and if he's able to get up a stable fort base economy, which I think just requires a couple more drones here at the 4th base, he's going to be in a really good position to go up into Hive and potentially Ultras, but Bunny's going to try and stop him here in the mid game. There is no 3rd command center yet, right?
Yeah, I believe there hasn't been one made just yet, as he's really powering right now on these barracks that he's got set up currently. He's not even got add-ons on some of them, so yeah, he's really trying to get as much production out as fast as possible. So you do try to skip those extra reactors just to get a few extra Marines here and there. And now the push is going to get set up in this little position between the 2 bases. It's going to be nice for those tanks, but there is still a flanking potential as those Roaches will start to hit the backside onto those tanks, so we'll be able to kill those off, but the Marines will be able to launch on forward. Tries to come on back to save the tanks, but unable to do so. Still a lot of Marines in this, so it's still going to be a tricky defense overall, as the Roaches and the Queens will start to fall.
Yeah, Marine count thinning out, but there aren't very many Roaches here left for Rogue. Another Sim going to come through. 2 more medevacs are also reinforcing. That's going to provide a lot more healing, but I think the Marine count is just high enough to keep these Roaches back. It's really a tug of war right now, with Rogue continuing to rally forces. 1-1 about to complete, as well as Zergling speed here for Rogue. That should give him a lot more flexibility, a lot more staying power versus the +1 infantry weapons of these Marines. I think Rogue might barely be hanging on, but it'll be hard to push Bunny out of this position.
Yeah, 1 tank still is there. There's going to be a few more units coming across as well. 3 tanks in total are on the map, so once those join up, well, actually there's one already right there as well, so once we get all 3 together, though, it's still going to be a little bit more tricky. A couple bios getting thrown down on that first forward tank. We'll be able to kill that, as well as a medevac. That's actually really nice. That one does get killed off as well. As much as much healing as possible is going to make this much better for Bunny, but for now, Rogue will be able to dislodge this position and force Bunny back home. Again, no 3rd command center. He's very committed with this.
Yeah, Bunny just continuing to parade push across the map, rallying more units here into the center. Will likely be trying to push back the creep of Rogue and work towards that junction between the natural expansion and the 4th base once more, but not before going for a drop. Now, Rogue, he's prepared for this. He has 3 Spore Crawlers, one of them currently morphing in, and Bunny might send it anyway. He drops 1 Marine, a sacrifice to the Roaches here.
Dude, would hate to be that guy.
Yeah, that's unlucky.
Gets pushed out the medevac by his friends. Like, yo, guys, please, no. It's like, we can see it from up here. You don't need to send me down.
You gotta test defenses. The Roaches could be hallucinations, so 1 Marine draws a short straw. And now Bunny, he's regrouping all the forces here in the center, and you really have to go with 1 more push. There might even be an SCV pull, or at least a small one here for Bunny if he has to commit with this, because I don't think you can easily transition out of a 2-base timing attack like this one with no 3rd command center, with no 2nd engineering bay or armory. It's really all coming down to this, but Rogue, he has a very good idea of what's happening.
Yeah, another location getting sieged here from Bunny. Nice positions from the tank. Going to make it very difficult for Rogue to actually get a flank over onto those. As the Marines start to move on forward, trying to get on top of these Roaches. Rogue not really realizing just yet. We'll be able to throw some bios and then disengage for now, trying to get more reinforcements, trying to split up this position. You can see how difficult it is for him to actually engage. This is a well thought out position from Bunny. That choke point on the right-hand side is really difficult to attack into with the tanks as well. A single Ravager on the left-hand side, but now some more bios getting thrown down onto that tank line. We'll be able to kill quite a few of them, but there's still so many Marines here.
Oh, it might be just enough for Bunny. The Ravagers, once they connect with the Marines, they start to melt, and so Rogue is going to be pulling the drones to have some sort of front line right now. More bios going to connect.
Yeah, that bio was actually huge because also a tank shot, I think, got off onto those Marines. So really losing quite a few of those. And now it's going to allow Rogue to make a defense with that drone pull. Losing 14 drones is not really great, but if he can still just make this defense happen, then it's still okay for him. Because again, Bunny is so committed right now. He's still only on 2 bases, going full all in with his attack.
Yeah, drones transferring now for the main base and the natural expansion, which have started to mine out. So Rogue, he will be able to resaturate the 4th expansion. Bunny going to try and pressure the hatchery down here in the bottom right. And Rogue, for now, it seems like he is able to push Bunny back from this position, and Bunny recognizes it is time to transition. He's starting in command center back at home, but I don't think that's going to mean that the pressure will stop. We still don't have a second engineering bay. We still don't have an armory. This is still Bunny with a pretty, what am I trying to say?
Near threatening army? I don't know.
No, I completely lost it. It's gone, guys. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. But this is Bunny looking in the short term right now, trying to end the game. He wants to... I think I was going for nearsighted. Hey.
Nearsighted attack. He needs to get his glasses set up for this one, as the Marines are trying to jump on in, trying to get a snipe on that Baneling. That's not enough of them, of course. We'll just try to move some units over to the main, as he does go to the right-hand side with the majority of the army. So it's just a distraction as he tries to lay more pressure on this forward 5th base location from Rogue, but Rogue is well ready for this. He's got plenty of units. Of course, that creep was identifying this attack coming, and so now Bunny's trying to reposition a little bit more, trying to outposition Rogue in this side of the map.
Yeah, one of the real issues here for Rogue is that he's been stuck on the Roach Ravager and now Baneling Tech trying to hold on versus Bunny. That's very good at cleaning up the ground. Actually, hold that thought, is Rogue going to just dive in on this position. Bile's able to connect with multiple siege tanks right now. The siege tank line completely evaporates. And now the Roaches and Ravagers actually connecting with the Marines, pushing them back. That's going to be GG. Rogue takes the win. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was a nice moment there from Rogue, identifying what that army was trying to do. It wasn't fully quite set up yet. The Liberators weren't there either. And just Rogue kind of realizing that I think his army just was eventually outscaling at that point, was getting a little bit too big. Bunny's attack did lose steam after that initial couple waves, weren't able to get the crazy damage. Sure, he killed a lot of drones. I think it was like 14 or 15 drones that he killed off at one point, but if you're not actually getting a base, if you're not forcing them off of those locations, if they're still able to expand outwards, they're going to eventually get enough units. That type of attack really needs to kill them in the first couple waves.
Yeah, it feels like, in particular, if you go for the 2-base and 5-rack style, as opposed to the 3-base and 8-rack style, you run out of steam a lot more quickly. Yeah. You have the advantage of hitting a lot faster than the 8-racks build, but as you saw with Bunny, you know, the first round of pushing was so close to breaking Rogue, but it feels like every single subsequent hold by Rogue was just a little bit better, because simultaneously, Bunny, he's running out of steam on his side of the map, and the main base starts mining out at 8:30, the natural expansion is going to follow, and you can't really afford to have a gap in production by lifting the main orbital command center, especially on Celestial Enclave, to a fully saturated base. Like, what, you're going to go to the 12 o'clock expansion with the main orbital? It's just way too far. So Rogue just able to really out-macro Bunny, despite the fact that I think Rogue might have been actually a little bit confused from that build. He was even checking the scout for a 3rd command center a couple of times there with Lings on the mini-map. So Rogue able to hold on. He's spawning down here in the bottom right, leading this best of 5 series 1-0 as Bunny spawns in the top left as the blue Terran.
Yes, 10,000 feet will be the map. And as I've said multiple times throughout this map being in the pool, it is a very defensive map overall. You're able to defend very well on these 4 bases. There's a couple ramps, and just kind of the locations of the bases are very close, so it does favor some kind of longer macro plays. You see some players try to go right for that, just setting themselves up very defensively. Other players will try to just deny that as quickly as possible, as we saw Shin try to do that versus Classic earlier today as well. But yeah, so curious to see exactly what Bunny is going to take this map as, because of course he's someone that we also have said likes to go for these early aggressive builds. I mean, we just saw him go for a 2-base all-in, didn't quite work out, so we'll see if he wants to bring that out on this map as well.
Yeah, it's not going to be the exact same build in any case. It is not a command center first opening here again for Bunny. He's instead going for the 1-racks expand with 1 gas, so likely will be a Reaper coming out here for our Terran player. And I'm also curious where this one is going to go, because I feel like on 10,000 feet, a lot of the power that Terran might have if you're going for some kind of mid-game push, it comes if you're playing it on 3 bases, not on 2 bases, because I think you just need to have enough presence on the map that you can actually perhaps even get a siege tank in position to start shelling the, I don't know how quite to describe this, the central forward base here for Rogue, the one that, like, if you go inwards, this expansion right here, I don't know exactly what the phrasing should be for this one, but there's some pretty good siege tank positions that you can find here at this more central base on Rogue's side of the map. And Rogue, he might expand linearly across the bottom, trying to take the base first at like 7 o'clock or so first, but usually after that, you do take that forward expansion just because it's so centralized. It's harder to defend the expansion all the way down to the bottom left corner.
Yeah, we see the SCV just being a little bit annoying versus this drone forcing it off, and we'll actually buy some time for that Reaper to get here as well, so we'll be able to help deny some of this mining, try to get a drone if possible, but nice micro from Rogue will be able to keep those away, so doesn't lose anything early before the Queen is out, as he's actually not making... Is he not making any lings right now? Oh, no, they got sent across the map. Sorry, I wasn't even paying attention. Okay, so yeah, they did go across the map, so they found their way around that Reaper. We'll be able to get the confirmation scout of the factory following up, as well as that, of course, command center. Doesn't see the third CC being made in the main base, so that was just out of vision. So we'll have to find that out a little bit later.
Yeah, we have had some Terran players be very... showy with a third command center, especially in the GSL and TBZ. They really don't try to hide it right now. I think because it's kind of become ubiquitous in the current meta of TBZ. Most of the builds that Terrans go for, they're going to be getting a third command center regardless of what the Zerg throws at them. But Bunny, this time, just building it in a slightly more conservative position, flush up against the main command center there in the top left corner. So Rogue still doesn't know, and I think this is smart for Bunny to do, especially given the way the last game went, because Bunny went for a 2-gate base all in. That means that Rogue, he's got to be a little bit more careful here versus Bunny. And in fact, Rogue actually is being more careful. He's going for a 2-hatch lair build.
Wow, yeah. Going for a fast Roach Warren with it as well, so we'll see how aggressive he wants to be with this, or if he's just being very defensive. I feel like I've seen Rogue do this before, but I can't remember exactly how it did work out, but I think he, at some point, did go for some, fast Roach Ravager or something.
The game, he's probably done this multiple times because this build has been catching on in popularity, and I can't remember if the game that I casted from Rogue doing this has been in GSL or RSL. I mean, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. Yeah. There's just so much StarCraft happening right now. Even StarCraft 1 is going on. But the game that I remember from Rogue was very unique. He went for a lair timing like this one, and then he built a spire. And behind the spire, he made basically nothing but Mutalisks. And you might be thinking, well, of course, if you're going to be playing Mutalisk versus Terran, like if you go Spire, you're going to be making Mutas. That's a no-brainer state. You're stupid. What are you talking about? Well, the thing was, the way that Rogue had played it, it was like he was basically only making Mutas. Usually you have a big accompaniment of Banelings and Zerglings, but it was almost like a Brood War-esque, just like pure Muta army coming in from Rogue, which was really cool to see. I don't know if that's where this game is going to go. We still haven't had the Spire thrown down just yet, but it seems like Rogue has a couple of different variations that he can play with this fast 4-gas 2-hatch lair build. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah, for now it looks like he's definitely committing to the ground. He's getting the Carapace upgrade, he's getting the Roach speed as well, so he's going to be able to make sure he has a nice solid ground army versus whatever Bunny might be trying to throw at him, or he might even just try to throw his own army across the map as well. But for now, it's just going to be the drones, making sure he can get this third base nice and saturated, and then we'll be having a couple Roaches out early to threaten things, and also, again, like I said, just to be able to defend any early Hellions. But it's not going to be that coming out from Bunny just yet. It is going to be a good amount, not a lot amount of Hellions coming out right now. As we just heard something in the studio and we're kind of losing our minds, so we just...
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was, but...
some old person's like sneezing outside or something.
Oh, was that? I thought it was like a PA announcement, but I'm like, I don't think we have a PA system in this building. Anyway, the noise-canceling headphones are pretty good. I hope they didn't get picked on the mic.
It's so funny.
Anyway, Rogue continuing to power up right now with Roaches. He's actually playing at less than 3-base saturation, only 56 drones, so he's focusing on saturating the minerals at that third expansion, but no gases just yet, and that tells me that Rogue is likely getting ready for one big fight here versus Bunny. Either he's expecting Bunny to be pushing across the map in short order, or Rogue is expecting to move across the map himself and potentially pressure Bunny, because 9 more Roaches, 5 more Ravagers, that is a fighting force, Gemini.
Yes, it's going to be 2 medevacs in the main base first, though. We'll be able to kill off this Queen and again get on top of some of these Roaches, and I think Bunny realized there's a little bit more than he asked for right there, so we'll be loading up immediately and getting on out of there. A two more Hellions finding their way into the third base, trying to get a few drones, but again, Roaches are able to deny that. So does Bunny notice just how many Roaches have been made? Does he see the Ravagers just yet? Does he know how aggressive Rogue is trying to be with this attack right now? Because they are being sent across the map right now. This third base currently doesn't seem like it has too much to defend. Bunny needs to get everything back home.
Oh, there's only one siege tank right here close for Bunny. Not a lot of units, even a changeling spotting everything, so Rogue knows exactly where to strike. He moves in. The Roaches one-shot the siege tank. Now they're in the natural expansion. There's one more siege tank to take out. It gets a good volley off on of those Roaches, but with more units streaming across the map, this just seems like it might be too much. Bunny, half of his forces are in the center, trying to intercept everything, and I think the Roaches actually caught them.
Yeah, they're all dead, and Bunny is out of this game. Rogue with a very swift attack after that very fast lair build. coming on out. It was not just some defensive roaches. It was setting up for that earlier attack as well. Slightly later than maybe what you might expect from that fast lair, but still very aggressive and very committed. And Bunny just completely caught off guard. Didn't even realize that was happening at all.
These two hatch lair plays that Zerg players are doing in ZVT are some of my favorite builds that we've been seeing, both in the RSL and GSL recently. It feels like this is catching on way more than ever had before, because going for a fast lair, it's not something completely new, but it's finding a lot of success right now, especially with the variants that players are going for, whether it be Aspire and then a ranging amount of commitment to the Mutalisk, either pure Mutalisks or something more akin to Mutaling Bane that we sometimes see, or what Rogue did there with a fast +1 Carapace, going for not quite a Roach Ravager max, but a huge Roach Ravager timing attack there on Bunny's side of the map. It's dangerous. You know, as a Terran player, you scout a 2-hatch lair, you must be scratching your head to some degree about, like, what is this gonna be? Because there's so many things that Zerg can throw at you, and they require very different responses.
Yeah, and it just feels like in general these Roach Ravager pushes are doing well, whether or not they're with lair or not. I mean, Lambo, of course, was doing very well with that as well, with his good old egg morphs coming on in. Was able to do very well with that earlier against Bunny too. So it's been, very aggressive early game PVZ or TVZs coming out from the Zergs.
Folks, if you are enjoying the show, we invite you to also join our growing community on Patreon. There are all sorts of perks available. There are multiple tiers available. You can choose the one that makes the most sense for you. Even if you want to subscribe just for free and get news about the RSL, like when a new season is announced or where the offline finals are going to be, if we get another offline finals, you can find all of that information on our Patreon. I mean, get the replay packs, vote on the maps, vote on the players. By the way, big shout out to you guys. You have been voting on some really awesome maps. I was the most skeptical out of everybody when we were discussing whether we should have like community voted maps in the RSL, because I have kind of the same opinion of a lot of the pros, where it's like, if I don't want to play on the map, should the pros really be playing on the map? What if we get some maps that are just kind of funky? But you guys voting in have absolutely delivered. They've led to some very fun games. Anyway, folks, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, this series will continue.
Drones, he knows he's got the game-ending damage. He's just got to now finish it.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. There is a third base coming here, and Lambo's continuing to just grow on the map. All that Kier has is these workers kind of barricading the entrance. And is Lambo not going to go for it? You can bile. Oh, no, I didn't realize there were two tanks.
Yeah, I think it's suicide to go up. I think it's just so pointless.
Well,
you've killed
never.
Okay, I guess he's going to try to go for it, as he doesn't realize there's two tanks. Actually, we'll get a medevac, which is quite a nice.
That's crazy that he actually got a medevac with the bile.
Yeah. But I feel like you know you have all your setup behind this. You know you got your drones, you got your extra base coming up. You know you killed one of the command centers as well, amazingly, with the queens. And so you know you're going to be not against the 3CC Terran for quite a while. He has remade his other one quite quickly. And so I think if you just walk up the ramp and try to end it right there, like that is the quickest way to confirm that you won't win the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you can take so many other avenues to potentially close this out in a few minutes later, but there's one way to absolutely make sure this won't go any longer, and that's going up the ramp.
I mean, this is such a bad game right now for Kier. He's stuck on one base. He certainly doesn't have enough to like really go out and drop and harass. Because if he did, the Roach Ravager would just run up the ramp and end the game. But he also can't land a CC on the low ground either. You could just see the income is so drastically different here.
You're still trying to poke away with a couple of Ravager Biles here and there, just make it so that way Kier cannot come down anytime soon, even transfusing the Overseer to make sure that doesn't get killed off, to maintain vision of the high ground. Will eventually get picked off, but again, just every little bit to delay is always great. It's going to be annoying to clear off all this creep as well. You've got to waste mule energy on scans that you don't want, because you need those mules to get your eco going again. And now we have the Hive about to finish. We got Infestors hitting the field. 1-1 is going to be finished as well before Kier can get any of his upgrades. This is looking so good in every aspect for Lambo.
Lambo, he's going to just stay back. He wants to draw the Terran out just far enough where he can really take advantage of the corrosive biles. You basically can't get a tank down there. I mean, until this creep's gone, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. I think what Lambo just did there is I think he moved a creep. He like placed a creep tumor specifically on the edge of the units, and it made the tank splash his own units. I think that's what he did there. That was pretty sick.
I'm actually glad you pointed that, because I saw that and I went, wait, what?
Yeah,
I didn't get what was going on.
That's actually so sick. And he's even anticipating this move as well with the roaches and the lings on this side, so Kier can't even go for this hidden CC. Again, you can't walk down because all of the units just get biled. There's infestors now too, which can fungal everything. Kier is struggling to take a natural at 10 minutes in the game, and he's going to leave. Lambo is our final player into the playoffs.
Egg Morph himself.
Egg Morpheus, man.
Egg Morpheus, Maximus Aurelius. He is going on to the next round here in the RSL. Don't go away.
Yes.
We are going to be doing a group draw.
Sit down.
How do we do this? Do we do the sponsor plugs, or do we do the sponsor plugs? Okay.
Okay. Nice.
We're going to do the sponsor plugs. Action. Put a slide up. Do something. What is going on here, man? Thank you to Archon Studio. Guys, you got to get the StarCraft Tabletop Miniatures game. They've been mailing... excuse me. They've been mailing us the Tabletop Miniatures game sets. We got the Protoss one on the desk here. They look so good.
Yep.
If you're a fan of the game and you don't have this, you're a fake fan.
You're a fake StarCraft fan.
You're a loser. Go buy their stuff. We love Archon Studio. They've been with us since the beginning, and we're so glad they stayed with us. So thank you for your support, Archon Studio. Guys, get on the Patreon. Patreon.com/RevivesC2. We want to keep growing this Patreon. We want to keep growing this show. It is a crazy thing that we took on to start a StarCraft League this late into the game. But we've been growing really fast, and we would not be able to do it without your support, guys.
Yes.
So consider signing up for a tier that makes sense for you. If you can't do it, you can still join the Patreon for free, and we will email you updates and stuff like that. If you're a high enough tier, you can vote on the maps, as well as the guest players and stuff like that. So
yeah, Lambo got voted in.
Lambo got voted in.
And now he is in the playoffs.
Yeah. What did you think of that video, guys? Well, let me know in the comments. Tasteless, I think
I'm going to be reading the comments all day.
I'm going to be reading the comments. Tasteless, I think your casting's pretty good. Oh, well, I don't really care what you think, actually. I don't really care what the comments say. Guys, we need to grow the YouTube. We need to get it bigger. We're not Mr. Beast yet.
But we will be.
But we will be.
With your help.
Yes. We just need to get a couple videos of us going to Walmart and giving people money for some reason. He's a genius, by the way.
We need to go to a deserted island and put pro gamers on it and see who survives
I'm going to bury myself underground for 7 days.
Welcome back, everybody, to the RSL. We are about to enter Game 3 of Rogue versus Bunny, and it is already match point. Rogue leading this series 2-0, and he is looking so good right now, Gemini.
Yeah, he's looking like he's outclassing Bunny at this point. I mean, Bunny, this is the furthest he's ever gotten in an RSL so far. First time he's in the playoffs, and unfortunately, this looks like it might be the end of the road for him. Rogue is looking really, really strong. I mean, just both games have been looking totally in control. We're going to be going into Exarch as map number 3 here, so potentially some opportunity for Bunny to throw out some cheeky stuff. Of course, 4-player maps leading towards possible, crazy builds and stuff like that. So let's see what goes on here on Exarch as they are both spawning on the left-hand side with Bunny on the bottom left and Rogue on the top left.
One of the more interesting maps that we have here in the pool and RSL. And just to rewind the clock a little bit and go back to game number 1 and game number 2, one of the things that's so impressive about the performance of Rogue to me is that in game number 1 on Celestial Enclave, Bunny went for one of the most powerful builds, one of the most powerful timing attacks you could possibly go for. CC first into 5 barracks, and...
Oh, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? He's going to proxy the barracks in the middle. Yes, this is the classic 4-player map move. Put him right in the middle of the map. It's so unlikely that you're going to, as the other player, scout cross map into the watchtower first. It's just so rare that you go for this. But we still have a very fast pool coming out from Rogue. He might be expecting this possibility anyways.
And it's 3 barracks. All right, forget. I was getting ready to fill like 2 minutes of time, Gemini. We don't need to do that. We got 3 barracks.
Get that stuff out of here. Get your bullshit out of here. We are getting some real hot stuff coming out from Bunny. He wants this series to get real spicy real quick.
All right, will Rogue be able to figure this out? It's actually a pool first opening here for Rogue. Gas is being mined. Rogue might have some ideas of getting aggressive himself already with this fast gas coming through. Unfortunately, he's going to be in the dark about Bunny's proxy 3 barracks in the center of the map. And now Bunny, he's going to have to send an SCV scout to find the location of Rogue, because Rogue could be spawning anywhere right now. And look at this, Bunny, he's getting the first scout.
Oh, dude, this is everything is going Bunny's way right now. So he's, like, except for the fact that I guess there's an early pool. That's the only thing that's actually a pretty important thing that's not going his way. But the fact that the scout's coming through is very good. He will get the information, whereas Rogue will not. So there's still an opportunity for Rogue to underreact to what's happening, because of course he just won't know when this is happening as early as Bunny, of course, is going to be attacking. So the Marines coming out 3 at a time at this point, needs to be getting these across the map kind of soon. He's waiting for just a moment to bank up a few of them, but a couple of Lings will actually get that information before they're at the front of the base. So that's massive intel for Rogue.
Yeah, that is the critical timing for Rogue to spot this. But can he actually save the natural expansion, or will Rogue need to find a response on one base? The Queen is coming down to defend. The drones are getting pulled. Bunker throw down right now by Bunny is going to block the entire left side of the mineral line. Zergling's going in for a flank. So far, Rogue, he's been able to push Bunny back, but the Marine count is continuing to rise.
Yeah, he's not going to stop this whatsoever. Of course, the drones here trying to help out, just buying as much time for more Lings to get produced at this point. A spine crawler also getting made at the top, but now these Marines stutter stepping back will be able to keep those drones and Lings away, trying to surround them. And this is looking really good for Bunny so far, as the bunker also finishes.
Yeah, the bunker is done. Spy crawler, it's coming down the ramp. I think that might have to go back up to the top, because there are way too many Marines. More Lings getting produced, but unfortunately for Rogue, these Lings are getting produced at the natural expansion in range of a lot of these Marines. Rogue still pivoting down with the spine crawler. Marines actually kind of moved away from this position, so some of the Lings are spawning right now and able to survive. Rogue may have one last chance to try and hold on. He has to reposition the spine. He wants it to find the perfect angle where it can hit the bunker, and the bunker cannot hit it. Hatchery down to 400 HP, Gemini.
All right, he's able to get in range with that spine crawler, so that's going to help out a lot. He's trying to use some transfuses on the hatchery to keep it alive for just a little bit longer, buying as much time as possible, but the Marine count is still looking pretty good. The Speedlings will be able to catch a few of these reinforcing Marines, but the hatchery does get killed off. And now these Zerglings are going to try and go across the map a little bit, again, trying to pick off any reinforcements they can, force these Marines away, but the battle is won for now for Bunny. He's been able to kill off this natural, and he's gotten full control of it, even killing off that creep tumor. Might even be able to jump up and kill that Queen if he wants to, but the spine crawler, of course, still there. And so far, this is looking, again, very good for Bunny. He's got to have to transition somehow, but what that is, not quite sure just yet.
All right, Rogue going for the surround with the Lings, not able to clean up the Marines. I think that might just be GG. Rogue calls it. Only 11 drones left, and so Bunny is able to take a cheeky one there on Exarch. He's getting on the board. It is now 2-1.
Yeah, very nice. Love to see that. Of course, Exarch, 4-player map, first one of those we've had in quite a while, and that's always a possibility that you can throw out. The proxy in the middle, not able to be defended by Rogue. Even though he did kind of go for that all-rounder style build, he kind of expected that that could possibly be something that Bunny would do on that map, of course, going for the early pool, going for the scout with the 2 Lings forward to try and see if they were, the barracks were at that middle spot, but even with that slight bit of extra timing on the information, unable to make the defense happen.
Yeah, the control by Rogue was really good too, but honestly, I just don't think it's possible to hold on to the natural expansion given the setup that Bunny went for, with 3 barracks proxied in the middle, even pulling, I think, 1 extra SCV from the main base, getting the bunker thrown down there. It completely blocks the space between the hatchery and the mineral line at kind of a critical pivot point for Rogue to try and come in from a different angle. That was well executed by Bunny. I mean, way to play one of the unique maps that we have here in the RSL, and a 4-player map by proxying everything in the center. And now he just has to win 2 more maps to actually go on to the next round. But you know, Rogue, when it comes to a straight-up game versus Bunny, he has been looking so good. Let's see if Bunny can deliver magic again here as map number 4 is loaded up.
I do like that Bunny went for that as well, being down in that scenario. I mean, it takes a lot of balls to be able to, at a 0-2 deficit, go for a full-on proxy in the middle of the map. So he probably was expecting to do that regardless, given the way that the map pool was set up for this particular match. And I like that he stuck to his guns there. He just wanted to go for it, and it ended up working out very well for him. And now Rogue is going to be the one that's going to be a little bit more aggressive with the proxies, as he's going to be sending out a drone to perhaps put down a proxied hatchery.
Hey, Rogue says, you cheese me, I'll cheese you right back. That's a proxy hatchery thrown down at the natural expansion, and Bunny has no idea just yet. Bunny going for the refinery here in the main base, likely going to be another Reaper expand build come from him.
How aggressive is Rogue going to be with this? Is it going to be like full-on committed? Is he going to just kind of use it to distract and then just macro behind it? We've seen both of them being used in this matchup. I believe Rogue tried this versus Clem in their matchup as well earlier on, and I think Clem just kind of overall defended it nicely and then just kind of won a longer macro game after that one. Rogue wasn't able to quite, keep up with that, so we'll see how committed he wants to be with this. Of course, the spawning pool getting thrown down now as well, as an extra drone is about to leave the base, and this one, will it actually be used to just make a hatchery back home, or is he sending it to go make a spine crawler across? It looks like it's going to be going across the map.
Yeah, this seems to be a very aggressive variant of this. This is what he did versus Clem. You were talking about this was one of the builds that Rogue utilized in that matchup. All right, Bunny actually pulling SCVs to try and deal with this. That's going to cue Rogue to pull the drone back away. There's a couple different responses that Terran can go for. They might just try to, you get the first Reaper, you send that cross map, and then you rally out Marines, and they eventually take down the hatchery. Or you go for this move, where you pull around 8 SCVs, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, and you just focus it down with the little drills that those SCVs have got. And that's going to be the play here for Bunny.
That drone also kind of going back and forth a little bit, and will eventually actually get into the main base and will deny the gas as well. That sneaky little drone finds its way in. We'll be able to get a little bit more information and possibly keep some of these units back home as well, because that's going to be a big important part, of course, since there's not going to be any speed. Oh my God! Did he? Oh wow! The Reaper actually able to slip away there, almost getting caught on the minerals by the the broodlings. That would have been really bad for Bunny if he lost that, because then that's all of his map control gone, which he should have as a default with how these builds are going. Yeah,
Rogue tried to get the surround right there and just barely missed getting the full surround on that Reaper. Luckily, Bunny was able to keep it alive. And now we have a game that is potentially going to normalize, but this is quite a few more lings coming out by Rogue. He wants to get this SCV again. He was already able to pick it off with 2 lings popping out of the larva from the proxy hatchery, and he's waiting for the Reaper to leave before he moves it again.
Oh, I love this play from Rogue. Oh, this Reaper is going to be so far away at this point. There's just one Marine, and it's chasing an Overlord. There's another one that saw everything. So now these 2 Marines actually on the bottom side here will be able to get killed off. Does actually get them in a nice little position, so they will be able to trade out as efficiently as possible. But still, this is a nice little move from Rogue. Unfortunately, he missed the timing on the command center, and he actually will lose a drone on the backside as well. So there's only 1 Queen out right now. He needs to be very careful not to lose any more.
Oh, one more drone very low on HP. Rogue.
Uh-oh. This is looking worse now.
Yeah, well, this command center is also quite low, and that might have to get repaired later on, but it's not burning just yet. And Rogue, okay.
Whoa.
Hold on, what is
Buddy
happening?
is dancing with death over here, man.
Rogue, I think, even did the double take right there when he saw that the supply depot was actually lowered, not raised. But now there are Hellions out on the field, and the Slowlings, not particularly good versus Hellions or Reapers, so these will get cleaned up here by Rogue. You can see them all just trying to scramble, heading in every single direction, see if any lings can survive. And from here, the game has the potential to normalize. Rogue is going for a lot of drones back at home. He's continuing to build up the queen count. No gas? Okay, we do have gas, but not speed yet here for Rogue. And Bunny behind all this, I think that what he's doing is really smart. He went for a very fast third command center, recognizing that, Rogue, you're investing a lot of resources into this hatch block, going for the gas take as well. You made a lot of lings. You try to pressure my natural expansion. If you go for that kind of early pressure as Rogue, you can't easily follow it up with another timing attack. And so Bunny knows that he is safe right now in the mid game, and he goes for a very greedy third CC.
Yeah, I do love that response. As it's also going to be that fast lair coming in from Rogue yet again. So it worked very well in the previous, in the game before. And so he's going to be trying to go for that again, even off of the proxied hatchery. So we'll see how well that's going to be able to do for him, as the Viking will be out right now and start to kill off some more of these Overlords. Rogue got to be careful not to lose too many of those, because obviously you wasted a little bit of your economy earlier on to go for this proxy hatch play, so you don't really want to be replacing Overlords so frequently in the early game. So we'll have to be very careful with that, as the Reaper will try to jump on and get that scout, as the lair is actually morphing in the natural, so he needs to make sure he jumps down there to try and get that, but I don't think he's going to.
But how many kills does this Reaper have? Is that the 3rd or the 4th drone that it was able to pick off? 8 kills in total on this Reaper. I think half of those are lings, but that's at least the 3rd drone it has been able to pick off. That Reaper is working overtime right now. Huge investment paying off for Bunny.
Unfortunately, the Reaper didn't die either. It was very low on HP. Rogue definitely could have killed that, but it will stay alive and will be able to be used a little bit later. And might also still get that information on the lair, but for now, Bunny doesn't actually know that that's there. He hasn't gotten that information. He did see an extra gas being morphed down at the natural from the high ground, but he doesn't see the other important information with it. Oh, no, he did see that layer. Never mind. I'm lying to you guys. I'm a total liar. I don't even know what scouted that, but something did. Anyways, he's got that information, apparently. So he will be able to respond accordingly as the Hellions just trying to kill off some creep at the front and just get any extra poking.
Yeah, 1-1 upgrades coming in here for Bunny. I would have loved to see Bunny just recognizing the early pressure coming in from Rogue, or I shouldn't even say pressure, just the early economic disruption that Rogue went for with a hatch block and with a gas steal. I would have loved to see Bunny react to that, not just with the fast 3rd CC, but with a really fast double engineering bay. But the 1-1 upgrade's a little bit more timidly timed here by Bunny, and Rogue will be keeping pace, at least with +1 Carapace right now, as Rogue is opting to go into Roaches here as a mid-game play.
Yeah, the Hellions still trying to find whatever they can. Will be met with a couple of Roaches, but we'll see that there's no 4th base coming down just yet, so it's not like Rogue is going super crazy on the economy. So Bunny could be able to read into this a little bit as well, just to know exactly what's going on. As we do have the Infestation Pit coming in as well for Rogue, so is this... No way he goes Swarm Host, right?
I think it's likely going to be another move in a Hive with Ultras. I mean, it's usually people go for Roaches because it's not super larva intensive. You're able to do it on a relatively low economy. And then you power up with these 3 bases, you get the Infestation Pit, you start the Hive, you take a 4th, and you go into Ultras. It's a really strong play. We'll see when that Hive actually does get started. Rogue went for this on Celestial Enclave. He got the Infestation Pit, he started the Hive, and the moment after the Hive started was when the 5 racks hit, so Rogue had to cancel it and put everything on, invest everything into just trying to survive.
I'm surprised that he's able to do this just off of 3 bases. I thought this would surely be something that you do off of 4 bases.
No,
but
it's a low economy play often.
Yeah, the fact that you can get it off of 3 is good. So he will be able to go into that as the Vikings still is able to get a couple more Overlords. But yeah, this is going to set him up very nicely, of course. But Bunny doesn't want to let that happen just yet. His army is really large right now. He's really powered up off of this faster 3rd CC that he was able to get after the failed proxy hatch. So his army is going to be so threatening onto this forward position from Rogue.
Yeah, Bunny is very smartly adding in a lot of tech labs to just begin building Marauders to deal with the Roach composition and to eventually deal with Ultras if they get on the board. And that means that Rogue has to cancel this hatchery. This timing is a little bit too strong for him to deal with right now. +1 Carapace and Rage Weapons ready here for Rogue as the engagement is taking place. But this Conky for Bunny is just a killer.
I mean, how do you even kill this many units right now? Rogue has got nothing. The Infestors were still in the production, although a crazy Fungal does get thrown down onto that group of Marines. But unfortunately, there's not that much follow-up, so he's not going to be able to kill off all of these just yet. And there's so much more coming from Bunny from the reinforcements. And we are going into a game number 5 after it really did look like Rogue was in full control of this series. Bunny's managed to actually wrangle this one all the way back.
I actually didn't catch how many barracks that we had in that game. Was that an ARAX build coming in from Bunny? Because it hit with so much behind it.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like Bunny is trying to really focus in on these mid-game timings. And I wonder now, going into a map number 5, if the early game looks fairly standard here for Rogue, do you even try to go into this fast Ultra play here? Because on Celestial Enclave, it almost bit him. Bunny was almost able to break through because Rogue was kind of pivoting and getting ready for that high-tech play. And here in game number 4, it absolutely was the Achilles heel. He had all these resources invested. Rogue was gearing up for a macro game that would last at least a couple more minutes, but Bunny just completely swept him off his feet with that timing attack.
Yeah, it really looked like Rogue was just not prepared for that whatsoever. I mean, the Infestors were just barely a little bit too late. So again, perhaps if the timings just worked out a little bit more in Rogue's favor, he might be able to get those extra Infestors out in time. Maybe with those extra few Fungals, there's a chance that he's able to make that defense. As that first one really did land really nicely, but unfortunately just lost too many Roaches already on that initial defense to be able to actually capitalize on it. So unfortunately for him, it is going to be going into game number 5, and Bunny still alive and kicking at this point, as Necropolis will be our final map of the day. Again, loser is out of the RSL. Winner moves on into the playoffs. Let's get going into our game number 5.
And spawning down in the bottom right, looking to confirm the reverse sweep. Blue Terran player Bunny. Rogue the red Zerg in the top left. what a treat this series has been. Really, Bunny just coming back to life after that proxy 3-racks in game number 3, risking it all.
Nothing gives a Terran hope as much as a 3-racks being successful to date.
I mean, we laugh about it, but I honestly think that, especially at the top level, going for proxy barracks play with everything on the line is just, it's such quintessential StarCraft.
Yeah,
I think back to like MVP, I think it was MVP
course.
versus
MVP
Squirtle, game
man.
7. I mean, it's just beautiful to do it. And for Bunny to go for it down 2-0 on a 4-player map where, you know, it's a little bit of an oddball build, right? Like you're hitting with the 3 barracks, but you're not getting the bunker rush up super quickly. You're kind of pulling Marines before you go. And is that going to help you as a Terran player? Is it going to be to your detriment because the Zerg has more time to build up? There's a lot of questions on Exarch, but Bunny was able to convert it into a win. And then with a push in game number 4 on 3 bases, was able to convert another win. And now it's match point for both players here in game number 5.
Yeah, very exciting to see this because, again, Bunny really did look like he was down and out after those first 2 games. Rogue looked in such control both of those games. It really looked like this was just going to be a swift 3-0, but great to see the fight in him still. And again, this is the story of Bunny coming in as the player that is kind of the underdog of the season, I would feel like. I feel like he's definitely a dark horse to go into this later stages of the playoffs. This is, like I said, the farthest he's gone so far in the RSL. Every time he's tried, he's been getting kind of knocked out pretty early in the group stages. So it's really cool to see him still being this competitive against what looks like to be the best Zerg we have in Korea at the moment.
It feels like Bunny when... How should I phrase this? It feels like he's never had a long period where he was one of the best Terran players in the world, even though... Well, I mean, it depends on the threshold you consider for best, but he's never really had a long period of dominance, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
But occasionally there are moments, there are stretches of time where Bunny just looks so good. And I would love for him to be starting one of those moments here in RSL Season 5. I mean, being able to upset Rogue, one of the best Zergs in Korea at the moment, especially after going down 0-2 in the first couple games, could be a really good indicator for where Bunny is going to be at later on in this RSL.
Yeah, Reaper tried to get some damage, of course, and does get brought pretty low itself, but will be able to stay alive and doesn't really kill anything itself either. So early game is pretty normal here as a Marine also tries to find a stray Overlord if possible. But it's going to be the factory coming out from Bunny on the response as well, with that CC finishing up, and of course the starport coming down as well. So it will be a very standard opener, just as normal from Bunny going into some Hellions to get that mid-game control. And Rogue, of course, going for that fast Ling speed, will not be going for the super fast layer this time, not staying on 2 bases. Will be getting that 3rd himself as well.
Yeah, Bunny able to pick off another Ling with these Reapers. The Reaper in the previous game was able to get at least 8 kills. Bunny just really babysitting these units and just trying to extract as much value as possible, whether it be scouting information like confirming the 3rd hatchery as he is doing now, whether it be picking off Lings and drones. There have been a lot of good plays by Bunny. And look at this, Gemini. Whoa. It's a Marauder coming in with these Hellions. Viking first. Now, the Viking might be just to clear Overlords on the path. This could be like an old school throwback to Hellbat Marauders.
Yep. This is a Gumiho special, I feel like, right? I feel like he was one of the first players to do this. Yeah, this could be very threatening versus Rogue if he doesn't realize this is coming. The Marine will be able to help deal with this, and of course the Viking as well, but you really need to try and deny this Overlord from seeing that tech lab and from seeing a potential Marauder popping out as well. You might just see that and think it's Stim getting researched, so that's still fine. I don't even think it saw the tech lab. It might have just barely got a glimpse. Okay, very briefly. But again, you could just kind of think that's Stim being researched potentially for a fast, Stim attack or something like that. Although still, the option is there for this fast concussive Marauder. But we almost never see this build anymore. It's so rare. And to be honest, whenever it did get brought out years ago, I feel like I never saw it be that insanely successful either. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes this build does kind of just fall flat despite it being very cheeky and interesting.
It's one of these builds that either works really hard or it falls flat on its face. There's very little in between, but Bunny is going for the risk here early on. 8 Hellions with an armory finishing that will allow them to transform into Hellbats. We have 4 Marauders done with concussive shells, and now the Marauders are landing. The Hellbats are transforming, and what does Rogue have to actually hold on? Well, the answer is a lot of Queens, and that's pretty good against this, but they don't have much energy for Transfuse, Gemini.
Yeah, we're going to be able to jump on the right-hand side, Queens, and the Medevac actually boosts away in time despite being so low on HP, will stay alive for now, and it forces the Queens to attack the units. And again, that Medevac staying alive for so long, baiting so many shots that were not useful stable for so long. A lot of these units still staying alive for Bunny, as there's really nothing on the unit tab right now. The Lings just now spawning, but it looks like for now they will be able to help clear this out. The Queens stayed alive for the most part and will be able to push this back. It seems like Bunny was able to be held.
Yeah, Rogue able to hold on. Medevac is going to give a little bit more life to this push, but Rogue has already weathered the storm. You know, Bunny's just trying to trade on as effectively as possible right now. He is already preparing for the next phase of this game by throwing down a third command center. As Rogue makes sure that the Medevac cannot extract these units, confirms the kills on those Hellbats and Marauders. And, you know, one of the reasons that we saw this build kind of peter out in ZVT, I think, is because a lot of Zerg started playing for a much more Queen-focused early game. You know, it's just such a good all-around offensive unit. But even though I think Rogue wasn't particularly keen on what was happening right there, I don't think he was absolutely clued in that Bunny was going for a play like this one. The Queen count was just naturally so high there for Rogue. I mean, it might have been 7 or 8 Queens that we had in total between the natural expansion and the third base, that even though they didn't have the energy for transfuse, really, there were just enough of them. You know, Hellbats, the splash damage doesn't really matter versus Queens. The bonus damage is non-existent. Same with the Marauders. No real bonus damage being transferred onto those Queens.
Yeah, it's a little deceiving because you see so few attacking units, and you think that the push will be able to just kind of blow through the Queens, but they actually stay alive for quite a long time, and it really does buy so much time. So if you're not allowed to actually get on top of any drone lines, the push goes on for a while, but it seems like nothing really gets done too much. So yeah, Rogue will be able to make that defense, and now it's kind of up to Bunny to try and come back into this a little bit, because of course you need to cut quite a few SCVs to make this attack work. And you're using those early units as well. So he's trying to use just the medevacs to just kind of pull everything away. He's trying to send some units on the left-hand side as well to clear some creep. We'll be able to do that, but for now, I feel like Rogue is definitely liking his position in this 5th game.
Oh, Rogue is in a tremendous position, especially because, as you said, as Terran, you have to make a lot of economic sacrifices to go for a play like this one. Bunny, he can't have everything now as he transitions into the mid-game. He's going for the third base. He added in the extra barracks. But he's doing this at the cost of having no upgrades. There's no engineering base on the map right now. There's no 1-1 upgrades here for Bunny. He recognizes that if he tries to go for the upgrades and build up the barracks infrastructure and take the third base, there just simply isn't enough money to go around for all of this. So what is Bunny going to do? It's going to be an 8 racks play without upgrades. And one of the problems here for Bunny is that 8 racks, usually the strength of this build is that it lasts a long time. You're able to constantly recharge and rejuvenate your forces with more reinforcements coming in. You can push over an extended period and really win a war of attrition over the Zerg. But so much of that hinges on having 1-1 finish at a good timing and 2-2 finish at a good timing that, you know, Bunny, especially with +2 Carapace being researched right now by Rogue, and by the way, a lot of Lings getting in. This is not a full wall, even if the supply depot was up. But just to quickly wrap up my point, the fact that +2 melee attack and +2 Carapace are started here for Rogue, I think puts almost a definitive timer on the push potential here for Bunny, and that has me very concerned about his position.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to get on the map really quickly here. He's trying to get as many Marines out as possible. I think he even had a couple Liberators in production there, if I was not mistaken. But the Hellbats actually getting caught in the middle of the map, I don't think Bunny accounted for that. I'm thinking that he thought he was going to be able to get out from there, but unfortunately he's forced to suicide all of those. That would have really helped to keep those alive in the actual push, because now that's basically a large portion of his army that is now gone right before he's moving across the map with his main attack. So that's not going to be the greatest situation for Bunny. His army is still quite threatening, but like you said, no upgrades is going to make this much more difficult. There's no sustain for this attack right now.
The moment that +2 Carapace is done, I think it's going to be lights out here for Bunny. I mean, and it's so much of this army. You look at the production tab, it's basically just Marines. The siege tanks, of course, they're going to provide a lot of damage at range here. But the burst damage of the Marines, that's the critical thing here for Bunny. And now +2 Carapace, they're going to tickle all of these units. So Rogue, +2 Carapace is done, +2 melee is finishing up. He is going to stream on in. And Bunny with a pretty good split, actually an excellent focus fire on the Banelings, is able to take a good trade, but there is just too much here for Rogue.
Yeah, he's going to be able to batter this down. There's just so much coming out from Rogue right now. The units were positioned really well for Bunny, but of course, there's just only so much you can do. There's only so much real estate you can run back to before you're just back in your own third base, and the Lings are there to meet you. Tank on the high ground will be able to help out a little bit, so Bunny probably won't die right here. Oh, never mind. Caster moment! Caster moment, as Rogue does win, and Bunny loses in the 5th game.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a nice defense. And Bunny, like you said, like he's just got so much, it's just such a burst potential. You have to get that initial burst. And if you don't, no upgrades, no reinforcements really, it's going to be so hard to actually close that out.
It's one of the reasons why we don't see Marauder Hellbat pushes very often anymore. Is you can't really transition easily out of them. And if the Zerg plays a queen heavy style, you're kind of dead in your tracks, right? And so for Bunny, honestly, that fight went better for him than I was expecting it to. I know that Rogue kind of dominated that fight, but I mean, that was 2-2 Lings and Banelings versus unupgraded Marines. You expect it to go better for the Zerg given the upgrades. Bunny's control was excellent. Sniping down the not the Banshees, the Banelings. I didn't even finish the word, but I'll just let you know what I was thinking. Shit. Yeah, now sniping down all of the Banelings, the control, the split there for Bunny. Bunny played spectacularly well this series, but Rogue was the better player. He's going to be advancing on to the next round.
Yeah, I mean, deserved from Rogue. I mean, it's very clear, of course, that he was going to be the favorite coming into this matchup. Bunny putting up a great fight, but unfortunately will be bowing out. But a good congrats to him to get this far. Of course, again, just the farthest he's gone so far in RSL, so it's really cool to see him do that well. But Rogue and Shin, the two Zergs today being the victors, still with 4 Zergs alive in the RSL, none of them getting killed off just yet. So plenty more Zerg action. If you have been missing that, we've been in a bit of a drought in terms of Zerg games in our tournament. So it's nice to see some more Zergs still staying alive.
No, I'm savoring this moment, Gemini. Having 4 Zergs, a Zerg in every single series, it was a drought indeed.
Yeah.
I was parched for Zerg gameplay. But finally, the rivers are flowing once more. Solar versus Hero tomorrow,
and they're
Clem
filled
versus
with Terran
Lambo.
and Protoss tears.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's a glorious day indeed. And I love the way that the Zerg players are playing, too. I mean, there are so many mix-ups, like two-hatch lair plays, the really aggressive styles that we're seeing in ZVP. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes, and this is the rest of the schedule that we've got. Of course, tomorrow we'll be back again the same time, same place to finish off the upper part of this bracket as well. And then we've got 2 great days at the end next weekend, which are going to be a big back-to-back kind of like longer day, the double days basically. So we're going to have tons of matches those 2 days with a slightly earlier start. It's going to be tons of action coming our way to find our champion of RSL season number 5.
There's just so much StarCraft happening. And of course, we want to give a big shout out once more to our official partner here at the RSL Revival, Archon Studio. They are making the StarCraft Tabletop Miniatures game, the official StarCraft Tabletop Miniatures game. Go to starcraft/tmg.com and check out what they've got, because they keep sending us stuff, and I see Ziggy constantly painting the miniatures. Everything just looks so awesome. No, he's not. He's happy. He's rejoicing. He's savoring every moment building up these things. They look incredible. And honestly, the game looks really cool, too. I hope that we get a chance down the line to actually play some of it, because it just looks awesome.
Absolutely. And go ahead and check us out on Patreon as well. We would love your guys' support. You guys have been great so far over this last year or so. Ever since we started this, it's been overwhelming, the amount of support that we've got. So please go ahead and check that out. That is how we are funding these events. You guys can get different replays from each week as well. You can join our Discord. You can ask us questions, as we love to do that. We love to answer your random questions about things. And of course, you can vote on maps and players and other cool perks. So go ahead and check that out.
Yeah, and even if you're watching live, we invite you to go to the YouTube and just help us grow this thing a little bit better. We're trying to get into the algorithm so that other StarCraft 2 fans who don't know the RSL is happening can get clued in, can watch these great games, because series like Classic versus Shin, Rogue versus Bunny, this deserves to be shared with the world. And one of the new features that YouTube actually has rolled out, which I believe is exclusive to YouTube Mobile, you have to do it on your phone. It's called Hype. If you go down to where the comments section would be, if you swipe past that trash, go to Hype this video, you can hype this, and there's like leaderboards and stuff. It's an interaction that can only take place, I think, in the first 7 days of the video being uploaded. And it basically just helps. It telegraphs to YouTube that people want to share this content. They want more fans of this content to be aware that this kind of thing is going on. And so we would really appreciate your support.
Yes, it would be awesome. But that's going to be basically it from us. We're all wrapping on up. We're going to be back here tomorrow, of course, to do 2 more great playoff matches. Be sure to stick around for that. And we're going to be signing off here. This has been Gemini and State for the RSL. We'll see you guys tomorrow.